Chapter 1567. Qin Mo tilted his head, placing a book in Rao Rong's hands. Source of inspiration. Rao Rong glanced at the title, falling silent. The overbearing school hunk falls in love with me. He flipped through the first page and was confused by the prefixes. Inheriting billions, princess in a castle, driving a private jet to school, etc. Rao Rong facebombed. He was getting old, unable to understand the preferences of youngsters. They were having hot pot. Every time Supreme Alliance had a gathering, they would either have barbecue or hot pot. Their mood would always improve after eating hot pot. This time wasn't an exception. Lin Feng seemed to have drunk a little too much. When he placed his arm on Bojio's shoulder, he didn't even notice Qin Mo's gaze. But today Qin Mo didn't seem to care. That was because of both Lin Feng and Yin Hu. They weren't wearing their team uniforms today, they were wearing suits. I'm telling you, little Spade, there's no need to be nervous. There's less than a month left. You should eat, play, and learn. Don't give yourself too much pressure. Perhaps, you might be able to perform better than you normally do. But a university's curriculum is insane, you'll understand when you get there. There isn't another university like a university, where everyone is a top student. Bojio laughed lightly. Flowerlin, don't forget you're from a university too. I really put in a lot of effort to get in. Lin Feng lowered his voice. If it wasn't for Yun Hu, I would have just gone there casually. I wasn't interested in studying, but it's different now. I'm studying both business and economics. It feels like there's a gap if I don't study. Bojio arched a brow. You feel the same way too. You have to be prepared for a rainy day. Lin Feng rolled up his sleeves, preparing to scoop up a piece of beef. Yin Hu was one step ahead of him, placing the beef onto his plate in a natural manner. Bojio glanced over, touching Lin Feng's shoulder. Attack? Lin Feng. F***CK, why did he have to get meat for him now? Cheers. Bojio smiled, touching his can of beer. Lin Feng smiled too. Coco was still shouting. Don't snatch my prawns, they aren't cooked yet. F***CK Feng Shang, did you starve in your previous life? Shut up. Feng Shang blushed easily, especially after drinking. Do you know who I am? I'm the #1 RMB player in Zone C. Coco chuckled. Are you going to fly me? Yao Yao, who was beside watching these two people naively taking out their handphone to log in the game, she can't help but smile. When he looked at the row of people sitting opposite him, his gaze was gentle. He no longer wore his battle uniform. It wasn't just the uncle, even God Lin and God Yun were the same. But even if he was wearing a custom-made suit, he would pull open his collar and drink like a teenager. He even fought for the meat in the hot pot like before. Just like the first time they met. No one had changed. That was great. This day was destined to be an all-nighter. It seemed like he didn't want to point it out. Everyone understood this. This meal was a farewell meal. Next, Lin Feng would officially take over the Lin family, and would no longer participate in any competitions or esports activities. Uncle Ian bought a ticket to Tibet. He said that he wanted to go for a walk. He was always sitting in front of the computer, and wanted to experience life. Bojio was about to take her college entrance exam. This was probably the happiest. Chapter 1568. The college entrance examination was very important to many people. In the past, Bojio didn't have much experience. Now, even Grandfather Butler said that he couldn't recognize his young lord. In order to marry Qin Mo, Lord Jiu worked very hard. Of course, she had to read some bedtime books to help her make up stories and matchmake people. Hence, the next day, the Almighty reached his hand out. Give me your phone. What are you doing? Bojio was a magnanimous person. Of course, she couldn't give her phone to anyone, not even little Princess Qin. But the Almighty had always been someone who wouldn't let go until he achieved his goal. He reached his hand out and took the phone from her uniform pocket. Bojio. Brother Mo, you look like a girl checking on her boyfriend. Oh. Qin Mo raised his eyebrows nonchalantly. His fingers slid to a few books and was about to delete them. He didn't want her to put her thoughts on things she shouldn't be and ignore him, her boyfriend. Bojio's hand moved. Don't delete them, Brother Mo. I learned the method to chase you from this. I haven't used it yet. Is that so? Qin Emo moved his fingers away. It seems like it's still useful. Bojio smiled. Of course it's useful. After reading it, she could understand Yao Yao and Luolua's thoughts. When girls like someone, they didn't seem to be very confident. She was probably too thick-skinned. Or perhaps, the person in front of her had never made her feel inferior. Because a long time ago, he held her in his hands. When they were young, he called her an idiot. But he even did things like washing her hands and tying her shoelaces. He was so warm that she couldn't forget about him after she got him. No wonder she felt lonely drinking alone in the Fifth Avenue. She hadn't found the person she was looking for. Everything was fine now. Boju leaned forward and lowered her eyes to kiss the person sitting on the sofa. Then she threw her laptop bag over her shoulder. Her eyes were bright and devilish. I'm going to work. Wait for me at home. After seeing this scene, the top assistant who came to pick up Boss Chin looked back at him. Seeing the smile on Boss Chin's face, he coughed lightly. Boss Chin, it looks like Miss Gio is the one who brings up the family. Is that okay? What's the problem? Chin Mo's face was elegant as he held onto his phone. His fingers swiped across the screen before he said, a person like your assistant who runs around every day probably doesn't understand the comfort of being taken care of by a girlfriend. If you don't live in the same environment, you won't be able to understand it. Golden assistant. His CEO's way of showing off his affection without feeling ashamed was enough. Found it. Chin Mo's fingers paused. The assistant thought it was something important. What are you looking for? As he spoke, he glanced sideways at Zhang Xian. After seeing the page on the phone, his expression suddenly became a little speechless. This is... Someone was reading a book recently. She said she could learn how to woo me from it. This should be her reading account. Chin Mo's voice was calm. Golden assistant. But CEO Chin, why did you get a reading account? You can't be reading this kind of book, right? It's nothing. Chin Mo lifted his lids nonchalantly. It's just to let people know about the couple's account. At the same time, tip the author and ask him to write more scenes of a girl chasing after a guy. Chapter 1569. Wednesday. It was a day that Xiangnan didn't want to face. It was probably a day that they didn't want to face. Because they had to send someone away. That person had spent 3 years here. What did 3 years mean? It meant that they could turn a high school student into a university student. It meant that they would grow from a teenager to a young adult. It meant growth. It also meant separation. Luoluo didn't want to make it too grand. But even she didn't know that after the press conference. Why were the Supreme Alliance members here too? Lin Feng was even wearing a suit. He had a tall and slender figure. Lin Hua, who looked like a dog, lit up everyone's eyes. She couldn't recognize him. Her brother Fatty was the same as before. When he saw Chin Mo, it was as though he was looking at his enemy. Ice Block Chin, who asked you to come? Please, can't you be more competitive? This isn't the Supreme Alliance, this is Xiangnan. Why did you bring a bunch of people to our Xiangnan? Chin Mo was wearing a beige trench coat. He lifted his eyelids slightly and glanced at the time. 12:30 a.m. What 12:30 a.m.? I'm asking you a question. Why are you wasting time with me? Zhao Sampeng was confused. Chin Mo's gaze was still cold. There wasn't much warmth in it. A person like the world's most handsome fatty wouldn't care about being enemies. Ah, of course. Zhao Sampeng straightened his back. Why don't you find out who I am? I'm straightforward, and I rely on my face to make a living. Even if we are enemies, we can still win next year. Chin Mo didn't bother about the end of his sentence. He wiped his hands. Since that's the case, this master fatty wouldn't mind treating us to a good meal. It's just a meal theirs. Zhao Sampeng paused. He grabbed his hair. I was wondering why he suddenly praised me. Little Spade, do you think it's appropriate for your man to behave like this? Bojio smiled, replying naturally, it's appropriate. I should show you my respect as the host. Zhao Sampeng. You guys aren't here to send Luoluo off. You are here with a bunch of Supreme Alliance members for a free meal, right? Also, why did he ask Little Spade that question? In Little Spade's eyes, Chin Mo, that shameless bastard, could do anything. If that's the case, Master Fatty can reimburse us for our high-speed train tickets too. Coco bit the rabbit's ear. I'm poor recently. Zhao Sampeng took a deep breath, pointing at himself and then at Qin Mo, young master of a rich family, wearing branded clothes from head to toe, and still in supreme alliance. How can you complain about being poor to a Xiangnan kid like me? Where's your conscience? Don't worry about the details. You know that if I can't play well in the future, I'll have to go back and inherit the family business. It'll be painful, Coco said seriously. Zhao Sampeng felt like he was going crazy. At the end of the day, the Xiangnan people were leaving. Why did Supreme Alliance come over? But, looking at Luolua's expression, she should be very happy. Zhao Sampeng turned his head away. Bojio stuffed one hand into her pocket, the other hand holding a bouquet of white roses. She placed it in Luolua's hands, smiling lightly, clean and handsome. My goddess is leaving. I can't bear to part with her. My god of spades asked me to stay. Maybe I would stay. Luoluo continued her sentence well. Her face was still slightly red. Chapter 1570. Before Luoluo could react. Just then, someone pulled Bojio back. It was Qin Mo. His handsome face was elegant, but his voice was calm. If you hug her, Coco and the others will ask for a hug too. Luoluo is a girl. Does everyone want to hug her? There are so many boys here, it's better to skip this etiquette. Bojio paused. She knew that the Almighty wasn't jealous, but his words made sense. Forget it, let's not hug. Luoluo also smiled. Coco truly felt that his captain was getting more and more shameless. You can always use them as an excuse. When had they ever asked for a hug? Zhao Sampeng didn't think much of it. It was just a hug. He decisively stepped forward. If Little Spade doesn't want to carry him, I'll carry him. At this moment, Lin Feng loved to watch a show. He said from the side, go ahead and hug him. If you hug him, you'll be dead. Are you sure your team leader won't send you straight to the sky? Zhao Sanpeng's outstretched hand froze in the middle. Holy shit, why didn't he think of that? He couldn't help but look at his captain. He was about to find an excuse to withdraw his hand. Unexpectedly, Luoluo was one step ahead of him. Her breath blew over. Master Fatty, thank you for taking care of me for so many years. I know that the snacks you put on the table are actually for me to eat. Zhao Sampeng had long treated Luoluo as his family. They had been together for so many years. They had advanced and retreated together for so long. It seemed that only a hug could express those emotions. Take good care of yourself in the future. Don't work so hard and don't endure it all the time. Listen to your brother Fatty. Girls should act coquettishly and it'll be easier on themselves. Don't always drink cold water. It's not good for girls. If you don't play games in the future, you won't have to stay up late. Go to bed early at night. I've stuffed a big bucket of wolfberries in your luggage. Remember to brew it and drink it. Also, when two people are dating, don't give in to each other too much. No matter who he is, a guy is like you. The better you treat him, the less he appreciates you. It's the same. It seemed like it was because they were going to separate. All of a sudden, he wanted to say a lot of things. Especially when he was carrying this person in his arms. There were even more things he wanted to say. Luoluo didn't want to make the parting so sad. She laughed softly and asked, Brother Fatty, you seem to have forgotten that you don't have a girlfriend yet. I'm single based on my own merits. Zhao Sampeng was always good at saying golden sentences. Lin Feng stood there and said, I think you're just relying on your own abilities to die. Are you really not afraid that Poker Face Xiao will settle the score with you? Seriously, as someone who has been through it, let me tell you, Sampeng, do you know my current situation? I just need to touch Little Spade's shoulder, and my captain's eyes will follow. Zhao Sampeng was about to speak. Luoluo's voice rang out. It was a little soft, so that person couldn't hear it. He won't. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. Luoluo smiled. Our relationship isn't like Qin Mo and Spades. It's a misunderstanding. Bojio glanced over. Misunderstanding? Chapter 1571. It couldn't be as simple as being a teammate. But Bojio knew that it wasn't suitable for her to say that. That was the knot in their hearts. It was more suitable for Captain Xiao to resolve it. Lin Feng knew where the problem was. Luoluo had come all the way. No matter how strong a girl looked on the surface, there were things she cared about. Poker Face Xiao definitely didn't make it clear. But, Luoluo, since Poker Face Xiao is already with you, I think you should think positively. If he doesn't like you, he won't be with you. Lin Feng's voice was very low. It was obvious that he didn't want Xiao Jing to hear it. That guy was really capable. Didn't he notice the problem in this aspect? It wasn't because Xiao Jing didn't do well enough, but because he had been through so much. Luoluo really hoped that there was someone who could tell her with certainty that he liked her, and that he wanted to be with her. Just like him and Yin Hu. If they really wanted to be with someone for a long time, they had to be more certain. Because he understood Luoluo. The difference between those lovers and themselves was too obvious. It was so obvious that sometimes, they weren't confident enough. Compared to him, Luoluo would probably have a harder time. After all, there were already many opposing voices. Luoluo laughed lightly. Luoluo laughed lightly. I know that he doesn't hate me, but there are many types of likes. Our likes are different. Actually, I'm too greedy. I'm greedy for the tolerance he has given me since the beginning. Even after I retired, he was the one who helped me settle the rumors on the internet when I went on blind dates. I'm his team member, and he can't bear to see his team members being bullied. I remember the first time someone exposed me, he also responded. I even specially went to ask him, and this was the answer he gave me. Poker Face Xiao doesn't know how to speak. You know that. Lin Feng truly felt that Xiao Jing's EQ was worrying. Bojiu glanced down. So you don't think that he treats you as a lover? Because of what he said in the past? Not entirely. Luoluo flipped her long hair. I won't do that. The most important thing is the current feeling. In the past, we didn't seem to be in a relationship. Every time we got close, I would be extremely nervous. He was still the same as before. Sometimes there was even a sense of distance. It wasn't the feeling of being lovers. Most of the time, we were comrades. Lin Feng was confused. Why don't I understand? Luoluo smiled generously. To put it more bluntly, I want to develop further, but he doesn't want to. Honestly, this is very frustrating for a girl. Because of this? Lin Feng blushed. Cough. Why is it because of this? Luoluo's smile was still there. I can't help it. As an adult, when you like someone, you want to get close to him and sleep with him. She stretched out her hand to give Luoluo a high five. She replied lazily, I agree. Luoluo. Lin. Luoluo as a girl as a scary a girl. Luoluo as 8 as scary a girl. Luoluot. Is as t. T. Luoluo as Luoluo as he. Chapter 1572. When Lin Feng heard this, he asked, Then when you left this time, he didn't stop you? Luoluo nodded. Her smile was still as beautiful as before. He probably realized that he needs to think clearly about how he feels about me. There are some things that aren't convenient to say out loud. When we are further apart, some thoughts will fade away. He probably wants me to fade away too. Bojiu glanced sideways at the tall figure. There was only one thought in her mind. Xiao Jing wasn't exciting enough. The other side would definitely drink. Now that there was no competition, everyone didn't need to worry so much. Qin Mo had never been interested in other people's affairs, especially when it came to relationships. But when she saw that someone was about to open his arms and hug Luoluo, she was stunned. Almighty Qin activated the reminder mode. He swirled his wine glass and looked at Xiao Jing casually. Luoluo is leaving. Aren't you going to stay? I'm not sure yet. Xiao Jing's voice was very low. After so many years, I'm used to taking care of her. She seems to know that too, so she bought a ticket to leave for a few days. Qin Mo's fingers paused. I see. Xiao Jing took a sip of wine. And if you spend too much time with him, you won't be able to tell whether you like him or admire him. You think Luoluo admires you? Qin Mo smiled with interest. I really admire you. Xiao Jing narrowed his eyes. I need to calm down. I also need to confirm if I'm suitable for her. When you are sure, other people will notice Luoluo. Qin Mo's gaze was calm. Luo shouldn't lack people who like her. Xiao Jing paused. After hearing this, he clenched the glass in his hand. Her actions didn't escape Qin Mo's eyes, but he didn't intend to discuss further. But she was still a little surprised that Xiao Jing would worry that someone would confuse their feelings for him. If it was someone else, it wouldn't matter. And that person was Luo. Since he already cared so much, what else was there to confirm? As the saying goes, the onlooker sees more clearly. A group of people were still drinking. The farewell meal was always eaten very slowly. When they saw Luo enter the high-speed rail station, the hugs that were supposed to come still came. Everyone hugged her. Xiao Jing was the only one missing. He had just received a phone call during the dinner. It was from an academic professor who suddenly felt unwell and asked him to go over. He originally thought that it was a serious illness, but he didn't expect that it was his teacher who wanted to matchmake him. The bespectacled teacher was a kind, white-haired scholar. "You're all my students. I wanted to talk to you a long time ago, but I didn't when I saw that you were focused on research and games. Now that I'm still in good health, I'll introduce you to each other. Xiao Jing, if you think your junior sister isn't bad, you can look around." "Teacher, why did you suddenly tell senior brother about this?" The girl blushed, raised her eyes and looked at Xiao Jing shyly, but also with joy. Xiao Jing didn't look at her. Instead, he stood up and said, "Teacher, I didn't think about that." The teacher paused, afraid that the atmosphere would turn cold. "Don't be so absolute. Do you think I don't know you well? You're never enlightened in this aspect. Anyway, you senior brother and junior sister should interact first. When the time comes." Chapter 1573. The teacher had never seen his prize student so anxious before. He tilted his head and looked at the other student. "Who is your senior sending off?" "I don't know." The girl's eyes dimmed. Then she smiled. "It should be his teammate. I heard that someone from his team retired. You know that senior takes good care of everyone in his team." "I see." The teacher smiled. "Your senior isn't easy to get along with. He has never thought about relationships. Don't be anxious. Let nature take its course. As your teacher, I hope that you can be together. But I have to give you a piece of advice. Don't force it." The girl paused for a moment, then nodded and said, "Teacher, what kind of person do you think I am? I do like senior brother, but it's not to the point of forcing him. But isn't it about taking the initiative now? You also know that senior brother is like that. If he doesn't take the initiative, he will never care about anyone." "You're right." The teacher stood up. "All right, your senior is leaving. Let's go to the research center." The girl grunted, but this time, she was a little distracted. It was all because of Xiao Jing's reaction. She received news that the woman would leave today. From her perspective, there would always be people who weren't worthy of him. But because of some special reasons, they could stay by his side and enjoy his care. Such people had to be clear-headed. They shouldn't treat care as love. This time, the woman should understand. She paid attention to her seniors team. Although it had nothing to do with her, and was far from her life circle. But she could still tell what that woman was like from the comments of those people. She didn't seem to have a proper background. She was also uncultured. She was just a little famous on the internet. She really thought that she was a goddess. After retiring, she would be nothing. Soon her fame would disappear. She would become worthless. She didn't seem like a boy. She wasn't completely thick-skinned. She still knew to leave on her own. This was the girl's truest thought. At the high-speed railway station, Luo was done with the security check. Many people didn't know. What had this man experienced with her? Even now, when Bojio looked up, she saw her smile. She was natural and unrestrained, just like before. When so many people didn't stand up, she was the first female professional player in the esports circle to speak up for her. She called her Adonis, no matter what gender she was. Warm and sweet. Bojio had promised Director Huang that she wouldn't act recklessly while he was in charge. However, when he saw Luo's back, he couldn't control himself. He reached out and grabbed her wrist. His voice was only audible to the two of them. "Don't go. I'll take care of the things that made you unhappy." Chapter 1574. Alright, let's stop here. Luoluo turned after speaking. Bojio's eyes deepened. Luoluo was really happy that this person came to send her off. In fact, most of the time he was already very tired. But he still wanted to persevere. There was a long period of time when he was considering whether or not to give up. Every pro player seemed to have experienced this sort of situation before. Sometimes, when people were being talked about, they would want to turn off all sources of information. Tired, do not want to like again, is it worth it? This was probably a thought that had popped up for a long time. If it wasn't for Supreme Alliance's new lineup this year, she would probably consider retirement during the spring competition. The word condition was very subtle for esports players. Many people would be scolded to the point that they would have defenses in their hearts, to the point that they would have to consider whether or not this kind of fighting would cause a complete collapse. The more he cared, the worse the outcome would be. It wasn't like Luoluo had never experienced such a period. Perhaps he had gotten used to it, or perhaps he had become numb to it. At this moment she saw that person. When he found out that Spadesy was a girl, it was as if there was a force telling him. Girls could also rely on their strength. Therefore, he still hoped that he would be able to look up and see the silhouette of that person jumping over the tower to kill. Many people did not understand. What is love? Luoluo thought that he probably wanted that person to stand in that position forever. Or they would suddenly stop in their tracks and see the news of them being recognized. These things that couldn't be done, he really wished that someone else could do it. She didn't like anyone, but she didn't regret knowing them. He didn't feel anything when he was surrounded by a group of people. When the high-speed train really started moving, Luoluo turned her head and leaned against the window. Even her tears were silent. She reached out to fasten the hood of her coat, so that no one would see it. As a girl, that was probably the case. But as an esports player he could not. Just like Cat Bear had said before, there would be a lot of people watching them in a match, not to mention in real life, what would be revealed. What's more, it would take a while for him to truly be at peace after he retired. Luoluo wasn't afraid of being forgotten by anyone. However, he still felt that this was the case. When people you are familiar with leave, they will never talk about the same things again. What happened to him? Maybe you'll know. But what happened to you? And whether or not he would find out from someone else, he wouldn't know. Their social circles had always been different. Once they no longer had any connection to the team, between them can also cool down. He wondered if it would be awkward when they met in the future. Luoluo looked up at the scenery outside the window. All these years, she had liked someone before. Faithful to the end, serious and cowardly. He knew that if he went back like this, he would have to face things from his family. But Luoluo still chose this direction. It was time for the once rebellious girl to return home. Luoluo didn't know if playing esports had consumed all her passion and courage. No matter how much she was mocked, she wanted to stay. She wanted to play esports. She wanted to tell everyone that she could do it. As a result, she had become so cowardly when it came to liking someone. However, after thinking about it, even though she knew that he wasn't sure about his feelings for her, she still took advantage of his care. It seemed a little shameful, because that was her captain. Chapter 1575. When Xiaojing arrived, the high-speed train had already started. The Supreme Alliance members were about to leave. After Lin Feng saw the person, he patted him on the shoulder. Poker face Xiao, really. I don't want to criticize you, but you really don't know how to fall in love. Yin, who didn't express any opinion. After all, a certain someone was a blank piece of paper when it came to dating. If I were you, I would use the entire family's power to stop the high-speed train. Lin Feng turned towards Bojio. Isn't this kind of plot? Bojio sounded nonchalant. I've read too many novels. No one can stop the high-speed train so easily. It's possible to hack the system. Both of you, behave yourself. Chinemo tugged the back of her collar, his handsome side profile. I'm taking this person away. What are you going to do next? Think about it. It was obvious that this sentence was directed at Xiaojing. Xiaojing stood there. He lifted his eyes and glanced towards the direction of the high-speed train. He felt that he wouldn't be used to it. other than not being used to it. Xiao Jing wanted to know what else was there. He swiped his phone. There was no message. He wasn't used to it. Xiangnan had a new mid laner. The netizens liked mid laners. The club had considered it too. In order to avoid trouble when Lualua was around, they respected the fans and invited her into the team. The mid laner was still a girl. She had a likable personality. She knew that Zhao Sampeng liked to eat, so she brought many snacks over. When Xiao Jing was training, she didn't forget to bring a bottle of mineral water over. There didn't seem to be any problems. The way to replace someone seemed simple. She just had to find a new one. The three of them were going to do a live broadcast together. The girl came online very early. She turned on her dual cameras and smiled sweetly as she introduced everyone. Zhao Sampeng was still a strong top laner. Xiao Jing's assassin was in the jungle. The other two were random passers-by. After all, they were professional players. The girl's maneuvering was above average. But the support was too slow. While playing, she would turn her head and ask Xiao Jing, "Almighty Xiao, did I use this skill correctly?" "MMH," Xiao Jing replied. His fingers seemed to pause for a moment. At this moment, the girl was still saying, "The two matched teammates, you must protect me." When Zhao Sampeng heard this, he wanted to end the game quickly. Xiao Jing didn't say a word and started harvesting. Zhao Sampeng finally calmed down. This game, the three of them won. It just felt different. Their thinking was different. The reinforcements were too slow. She was always protected. These problems were probably because he needed to familiarize himself with his new teammates. It made Zhao Sampeng wonder if there was something wrong with his condition. After leaving the base, he tilted his head and lit a cigarette. He was irritated. Actually, some of Xiangnan's old fans could tell. Their Master Fatty's condition wasn't right. No, not just Lord Fatty. Even Almighty Zhao's finances didn't seem to be as high as before. He did win, but his speed was much slower. What was going on? But the results were still pretty good. The fans of the chosen girl felt that this person had brought new strength to Xiangnan. It was better than being so rigid in the past. But it was Zhao Sampeng and Xiao Jing who were playing the game. It was especially so for Zhao Sampeng. The pressure on him to be the top laner had doubled. Ordinary players wouldn't be able to tell. This was not a tower defense game. Just based on the skills of the last hit. The new girl and Lualua weren't on the same level. Those who weren't professional players wouldn't be able to tell. Even he felt that it was because he wasn't used to the new teammate. It had nothing to do with anything else. F***CKU. It didn't matter. Zhao Sampeng grabbed his hair fiercely. Sometimes he really didn't understand why people would chase away people who wanted to play games. He wanted to control his emotions. But he couldn't control himself and kicked the rubbish bin. When he turned his head, he saw Xiao Jing walking out of the training room. Not in a good mood? Xiao Jing's handsome face didn't show any emotions. Zhao Sampeng really didn't want to say anything. He was going to suffocate to death. Who sent her here? Can they chase her away? Do they really want to play like this? A professional player is asking for protection, and they think it's not bad. How can they be in a good mood? These people don't care about skills. They like whoever they like. There's nothing wrong with that. But we are the ones competing. Xiao Jing listened and didn't say anything. Zhao Sampeng took another puff of his cigarette. 3 waves of attacks came from the top lane. But that girl didn't even come. Yes, that's right. I'm a professional top laner, and I can hold them off. What should I do when I compete with other professional teams? Is she still going to defend the middle lane? If she uses her life to protect the tower, she won't die at all. Her results are beautiful. Xiao Jing still didn't say anything. He didn't know what he was looking at. His expression was a little indifferent. Zhao Sampeng felt that the situation wasn't right. He restrained himself and said, "Captain, I'm really not complaining. I just can't take it anymore. Are we going to compete like this in the future? Are you so cowardly that you don't have any friends? Luoluo is indeed a coward when it comes to liking you, but she's different when she's playing games. You know how fast her support is. With her in the middle lane, you'll be able to farm quickly because she knows how to deal the last hit. She'll even take care of the top lane. A good mid laner. F***CK. A good mid laner doesn't need a beautiful battle record. When he said this, Zhao Sampeng didn't expect his captain to reply to him anymore. In the circle, he was famous for being a man of few words. He was his captain. The little prodigy of the Supreme Alliance should be together with their captain. They were silent, and didn't need to talk to each other. Just as Zhao Sampeng heaved a long sigh, and was prepared to give an intellectual ending, Xiaojing finally spoke. His voice was calm. "I'm not thinking about these things." Zhao Sampeng's face was filled with disbelief. Zhao Sampeng had a look of disbelief on his face. He was really angry now. "Captain, you are heartless for saying that. Luoluo doesn't need to talk about other aspects, but you should know how good she is at playing. The golden triangle isn't something that can be given to anyone. There was a period of time when the team didn't have an ADC, but she was still able to carry it. I'm not thinking about these things. I'm just purely thinking about her." Xiaojing interrupted Zhao Sampeng. Zhao Sampeng stuttered when he heard this. "Captain, you mean? I miss her a lot." There was finally a ripple in Xiaojing's eyes. "It isn't because she is a member of the Xiangnan team, and it isn't because of her maneuvering." Zhao Sampeng stiffened. This is normal. F***CK, wasn't he showing off his public display of affection? "You guys can play next." Xiaojing reached out and unzipped his jacket. Zhao Sampeng was confused. "Us? Me and who?" "The new members," Xiaojing said as he tossed his jacket into his hands. Zhao Sampeng was dumbfounded with the cigarette in his mouth. "No, Captain, we agreed that it's a break-in period. We need 3 players. Chapter 1576. Zhao Sampeng was almost certain that he was eating dog food. "No, Captain, even if you aren't in the mood to train." Xiaojing didn't wait for him to finish his sentence. "I'm going to fetch Luoluo back. Are you going to continue delaying me, or are you going in to support the scene? F***CK, isn't that obvious?" Zhao Sampeng extinguished his cigarette. "I'm the best at supporting the scene. Captain, you shouldn't have let Luoluo go when she left. Why did you do that? How long has it been? One day, and you want to fetch her back, you? Why do I have to fetch Sister Luoluo back? Did I not do enough?" The new mid laner saw the two of them walking out of the training room together, and followed them out. However, she didn't expect to hear these words. "Sister Luoluo has already retired. It isn't suitable for her to stay in the team." Xiaojing glanced over without much expression. Even though his eyes were slightly cold, he only said one sentence to Zhao Sampeng. "Tell her that Luoluo is fine." He disappeared from the corridor. The mid laner girl didn't understand. "My results just now weren't good? Not bad." Zhao Sampeng thought for a moment. He still couldn't learn to be fake. "But compared to Luoluo, you aren't on the same level. But you don't have to worry. Captain said that he wants to fetch Luoluo back. But he doesn't have any intention of letting her return to the team. Since she has retired, she won't return to the team unless there are special circumstances." The new mid laner smirked. "I'm speechless. How am I not on the same level as her? I know about her past results. She was indeed very good when she first came out, but when you guys met the Supreme Alliance, she didn't seem to be of any use. Her results weren't as good as before, and her condition wasn't good at all. How dare you say that I'm on the same level as her? Honestly, Master Fatty, I'm really sad to hear you guys talk about me behind my back. Can't you say it in front of me? Why do you have to say it behind my back? There's a live stream, so I can't say it in front of you." Zhao Sampeng's voice was calm. "If you really want to know your weakness, I can analyze it in front of you. You aren't agile enough and are only mid laners. You can say that you are stable, but the price is that Captain and I will be slowed down and the pressure will be greater. Of course, you won't be able to see it in such a situation, but in the professional arena, you might die if you aren't careful." The new mid laner paused. Chapter 1577. The new mid player clenched his fists. "Since you don't like me, can I just leave the team?" Zhao Sampeng didn't reply. He realized that there were some things that he couldn't understand. But once something happened, it wouldn't end. Before the new mid player came, she said many times that she was Xiangnan's fan. She said that she was really happy to join Xiangnan as a fan. She did like Xiangnan in the past, but she didn't expect that the two almighties she liked were like this. She said directly on the internet. Some people say one thing to my face and another behind my back. They even said that it's embarrassing to criticize me during a live stream, but when they're outside, they start saying why I can't do it. They even said that the fans made their former mid-player leave, and they let the fans take the blame for everything. Haha. How many fans are students who support them even though they don't have money? They say that they don't want anything, but in the end, who knows what will happen behind their backs? They have to be careful even when they start a live stream. Retirement is retirement, they still have to get it back. When she posted this, Xiao Jing was at the high-speed rail station. To say something that was somewhat detached from reality, yet it was also very realistic. Xiao Jing didn't take this kind of public transportation often, unless he was going to participate in a competition with his team. It was the first time in his life that he was purely looking for someone, and with such a clear goal. Hence, he wasn't that familiar with it. When Xiao Jing came, he was still wearing his uniform. But the uniform was too eye-catching. He exchanged it with the taxi driver, and even paid the taxi driver 100 yuan. Even so, he still had to wear a mask. There were many handsome guys at the high-speed rail station, but there were very few like Xiao Jing. The words scholarly family were mostly used to describe girls. But when it came to Xiao Jing, it didn't seem out of place. Especially when he lowered his gaze to look for the information on the ticket. His back was slightly bent, but there was a sense of coolness. It made people stop and take a few more glances. Xiao Jing's other hand was still holding onto his phone. With such a huge piece of news, it wasn't just the club that would call him. Even Zhao Sampang would call him. Almighty Fatty had always been direct. Is this girl delusional? I didn't mean it that way when I said it was inconvenient to do a live broadcast. Could it be that she thinks she'll be happier if I point out her problems to her face? Don't rookies have to be humble? I'm just displaying my gentlemanly side. How could I be wrong? Yes. Xiao Jing was a man of few words. But obviously, those 2 words were enough to make Zhao Sampang grin. I've read so many comments, but in the end, I still have to find comfort from Captain. I'm a person who loves to criticize others, but I've also been accused of one thing behind their backs. Interesting. The company told me to take a break for a few days. No need. After saying this, Xiao Jing said, I have something else to deal with. I'll call you back later. Zhao Sampang chuckled. When you were chasing after Luoluo, you were distracted to deal with my matters. Chapter 1578. When Zhao Sampang heard this, he smiled even wider. No problem, leave it to me. Almost immediately after he hung up the phone, Zhao Sampang went to talk to Luoluo privately. What are you doing? This was Almighty Fatty's first sentence. Luoluo's hometown was a small place surrounded by water. Over the years, she had saved up as a professional. But the elderly seemed to be like this. The older they got, the more they liked to stay in a place with roots. Even though Luoluo bought a 2-bedroom apartment in the city, her family didn't want to leave. She returned to her hometown this time. She didn't know why. She felt more relaxed after returning home. There was internet here, and it wasn't that backward. Even now, it was popular to order takeout in the villages. But the only difference was the topic of discussion. Over here, no one knew the concept of a professional esports player. In the minds of the older generation, they were still stuck at the stage of playing games. Luoluo's mother was the most ordinary mother. However, one could tell that she was definitely beautiful when she was young. Unlike Luoluo, her mother liked to sing. She even learned from others and sang on a singing platform. Look, another fan of mine gave me a like. Mother Luo pulled Luoluo and showed her her phone. Luoluo smiled. Really? I'll sing another song later. Now, I'm going to hunt wild vegetables with Auntie Sue and the rest. Mother Luo carried her bag as she spoke. Eating wild vegetables is good for the body. I saw the analysis post on WeChat by the experts. Luoluo glanced sideways. Mum, some of these things aren't scientific. Nonsense, how is it not scientific? Mother Luo tidied her hair. She had to look beautiful even if she was hunting for wild vegetables. Luo just wanted to laugh. The sun is really strong outside. Let's drive. Auntie Sue will turn on the air conditioner for me. How fashionable. Driving to hunt wild vegetables. Oh right. Your phone keeps ringing. Why don't you take a look? Mother Luo seemed to have thought of something. This time, Auntie Sue introduced a good person to you. When we come back later, I'll bring you to meet him. He just came back from the army and is your primary school classmate. When he heard that you are back, he insisted on meeting you. Isn't this fate? Mom. Luo was about to speak. Mother Luo interrupted her. Luo, don't think that us old aunties like to introduce people to you. Even if it's our hobby, we don't introduce people randomly. They were the ones who asked you first. Go and take a look. I've seen their photos. They look like the type you like. If you really don't like them, just tell them. Don't you know your Auntie Sue? They are straightforward people. Moreover, since you're back, you should let go of that person in your heart. Luo wanted to laugh at the beginning, but when she heard the last sentence, she suddenly paused. Mom, how did you know? In the past 3 years, every time you came back on New Year's Eve, you were waiting for someone's call. As soon as the call came, you were smiling. At this point, Mother Luo put on her hat. How would I not know my own daughter? She definitely has someone she likes. That's why I rejected many people for you. I thought that since you like gaming so much, you would definitely stay there. You wouldn't want to come back. Now that you're back, it's good too. The last sentence was like the softest thing in the world. This made Luo realize this. Many years of going against the norm, to chase after a profession that wasn't recognized. There was something else behind this. Chapter 1579. Luo took a deep breath. I can go, but I have to say that I'm not prepared to find a boyfriend immediately. We just want you to be friends. If you feel that you have similar interests, you can contact each other. We didn't say that you have to find a boyfriend, Mother Luo said. However, Luo could clearly see that ever since she agreed, her mother's smile had increased. No parent didn't want their children to find a partner when they reached an age. Luo knew this. In the past, she was resistant. Now she didn't know if it was because she had been outside for too long. After returning home, she stayed in the small courtyard. Her pace of life was slow, and she would pay attention to people online who had scandals. It didn't seem so hard to accept anymore. She was probably really tired. Luo could still remember when she closed her eyes. She pushed open the door and walked in. Her mother was stunned. Her mother probably didn't even know what the word retired meant. It was as if she had worked hard in the big city and returned to her hometown after resigning. But her mother still felt that she was upset. At night, she wouldn't forget to massage her shoulders and say, "It's better if you don't do it anymore. You can accompany me when you have more time. You don't know, your father has been hoping for you to come back." This was different from what she said every time she called. The most common thing they said was, "Everything is fine at home. Take care of your health outside." In the past, Luo was afraid of retiring. She didn't even know what she could do after retiring. When she applied for a job, people would ask her about her education. She would tell them that she didn't have a diploma. When people asked about her work experience, she would tell them that she knew how to play games. Luo had thought about all these before. She could indeed engage in related jobs. Host, commentator, substitute player. But she didn't know why. She didn't want to. That was why a few days ago, even when the person she wanted the most agreed to date her, she was worried about her gains and losses. It was her problem, not that person's problem. She came to this step. Did she get scolded too much? That was why she didn't dare to. It wasn't because of those people. She was afraid that after retiring, she would lose the only thing he admired. That was probably it. Luo held her forehead and smiled. She thought she could get rid of it after all these years. The feeling of inferiority seemed to appear more and more the more you like someone. Now she was not afraid to retire. Without the internet, he uninstalled the game. It was an unprecedented piece. Probably because he knew. He didn't have that kind of feelings for her. The desire slowly faded away. Even his heart could rest for a while. Luoluo had originally planned to slow down her pace as well. However, her mother's words reminded her to check her phone. Before she swiped the screen open, Luoluo had expected to see someone's name. After glancing at the informant, he smiled mysteriously. Really? What are you still fantasizing about? However, Luoluo was still very happy to receive a message from Master Fatty. She pressed on the screen and replied with a voice message. I just woke up. I'm in the courtyard at home. Master Fatty, what's the matter? After asking, Luoluo remembered that today was the day the new mid would pass. It was pretty good. Chapter 1580. There's nothing to see when you're not around. Zhao Sampeng didn't want the netizens to bother Luoluo anymore. If it was possible, he wanted to find someone to hide all of Luoluo's information. After the new mid player said those words, it was fine. It was fine if some people criticized him. Even after Luoluo retired, they didn't stop. He really thought that Luoluo would come back. In reality, his heart was already cold. Why would he come back in such an environment? No matter how much he liked her, he wouldn't be able to take it. Luoluo really didn't know what happened. She just felt better after hearing Zhao Sampeng's words. This seemed to have started from a long time ago. Oh right, you don't know, but after you left, Captain didn't seem right. Zhao Sampeng revealed something. But he should have reflected on his low EQ. It's better that you left. You can stimulate Captain a little. Luoluo didn't expect Zhao Sampeng to tell her this. When she heard news about that person again, Luoluo drank a mouthful of water subconsciously. There must be a lot of things happening recently. He can't accept that I'm really leaving. He will be fine once he gets used to it. Zhao Sampeng listened to the voice. For some reason, his heart ached a little. You are right. He might be fine once he gets used to it. Oh right, Luoluo, where are you now? Are you in your house in the city? I want to go somewhere to relax. I thought about it for a long time, but I don't know where to go. I wanted to go to Jiang City, but when I thought about that crazy wife-flaunting demon, I didn't even want to move. Luoluo could imagine his expression just from his voice. She laughed unknowingly. I'm not in the city. I'm in my hometown. I'm in the village. Do you want to come and play? Of course. I might look handsome, but I'm good at physical labor like chopping firewood. Zhao Sampeng was unscrupulous in order to get her address. Luoluo laughed again. What era is it now? Chopping firewood? I'll send you the location later. Call me when you reach the city. I'll come and fetch you. Be more specific. I have no sense of direction. This was Zhao Sampeng's last sentence. Luoluo agreed. Then I'll hang up. I'll send you the address on WeChat. After Zhao Sampeng received the address, he immediately sent it to Xiaojing. Captain, you have to hurry this time. I don't know why, but I feel different when I talk to Luoluo this time. She seems to have grown up overnight. Xiaojing didn't see this WeChat message because he received a call from the club's manager. Apologize? Why? This was what he replied after listening to the other party's request. His voice was very faint, almost inaudible on the high-speed train. Chapter 1581. I don't know what it means to weigh the pros and cons. Xiaojing's voice was low. I only know that the person you mentioned who has already retired is Xiangnan's strongest mid. With her, Xiangnan would have been the champion for 3 years. The person you are trying to soften up is Xiangnan's most important top laner. Everyone who plays this game knows that the top laner position is the most stressful. With him around, my jungle can be protected. Although the adjustment period is important and fresh blood is indispensable. Manager, you seem to have forgotten the attitude you should use to treat those who have spent half a lifetime in Xiangnan. You don't seem to remember how much glory they have won for Xiangnan. That person had never heard Xiaojing speak so much. He knew that this wasn't going to be easy. He gritted his teeth and said, What do you want me to do? The company has to give me an explanation. The new mid player. The new mid player, I have a message for her. Xiaojing interrupted the manager. If a person doesn't even respect his seniors in the same industry and speaks without thinking because of non-existent competition, he won't pass my test. Xiaojing, why don't you understand? Every season is different. The club has to consider its survival. The manager was speaking from the bottom of his heart. Actually, you should have reflected on yourselves. Why do you always keep a distance from the fans? That isn't popular anymore. You have to unify them so that they have a sense of belonging. You and Luoluo, this is where you lose. Xiao Jing's eyes were indifferent. So this is what losing means. If not, who are you going to say this? You can't let Luoluo say it. I thought about it and I know that you are protecting her. That's why I asked Sampeng to say it. Anyway, that guy likes to joke around. He can just say something when the time comes. The manager wanted to coax them. Firstly, they had feelings for each other after such a long time. Secondly, these people were still valuable. After all, they were popular. At the very least, Xiao Jing was the most valuable. The manager thought that the other party would understand since the unity of the team was the most important. Xiangnan and Supreme Alliance were different. Supreme Alliance could break up. Xiangnan couldn't. He had seen how Supreme Alliance handled things. From a business perspective, it was something that only people without EQ would do. Feng Yi, that smiling fox, was becoming less and less like a businessman. The manager thought to himself. Suddenly, a voice came from the other side. If no one says anything, how are you going to deal with it? You're making things difficult for me, Xiao Jing. The manager's forehead began to sweat. Xiao Jing looked out of the window. As soon as he closed his eyes, he saw the three of them standing on the podium. At that time, not many people liked them. At that time, they were nothing. At that time, few people knew about esports. It was also at that time that he obtained the most important friendship, and now love. You don't have to feel troubled. Xiao Jing opened his eyes and his Adam's apple rolled twice. As long as we all retire, there won't be a problem of who will come back, and there won't be a problem of newbies getting used to each other. You don't have to say such soft words. The manager paused. He had never expected that Xiao Jing, who had always attached the most importance to the team, would say such a thing. Just as he was about to speak, he heard the other side hang up the phone lightly. Chapter 1582. The manager didn't expect that his request to persuade Zhao Sampeng to say some soft words would end up like this. When he received the message again, Xiao Jing's contract termination message was already displayed on the webpage. There was still half a year before the termination. The manager thought about this and wanted to make use of this relationship to keep him. But right after that, the Xiao family's lawyer appeared. According to the contract, as long as he didn't bring his game ID with him, he wouldn't have to pay any compensation. All the players from Xiangnan had such a contract. From the company's point of view, they hadn't realized how important a person was at that time. Instead, they were focused on the benefits brought by the game ID. Hence, the manager was completely dumbfounded. Xiao Jing also simply said 2 words on the public platform: retire. The fans weren't in an uproar. Lin Feng exploded in the Almighty's discussion group. Welcome, Poker Face Xiao, to our retired army. I just want to ask you, did you understand something after Luoluo left? You can't have both a girlfriend and a game at the same time. Back then, I couldn't find a girlfriend because I always played games. Yin Hu opened his mouth slowly. Do you need me to find one for you now, Almighty Lin Feng? Lin Feng went silent. F***ck, he couldn't even joke about it, it was dangerous. Rao Rong sent another message. To be honest, Poker Face Xiao is indeed old. Xiao Jing. The one above, we are the same age. Rao Rong smiled gently. I'm 18, thank you. I'm born in the 2000s, shameless. Lin Feng couldn't stand it anymore. The 16-year-old is going to speak. What plans do you have after retirement? I'm recruiting people. Poker Face Xiao, are you coming? Xiao Jing. No, I'm going to chase after her. Bojio sent an emoji of a dog biting a blade of grass. You're finally enlightened. Lin Feng tugged his collar and sat on the boss's chair. I'll wait for you. I need talents like you. I'm too young and can't control the situation. I'm ashamed to talk about it. World's most handsome fatty. Why did you retire? The moment he said this, the discussion group went silent for a few seconds. It wasn't his usual style. Is it because of the live stream? Did the club say something? Zhao Sampeng was anxious. Because of me? Xiao Jing lowered his gaze. No. Then why? Your condition hasn't deteriorated you. Zhao Sampeng clenched his fists. Xiao Jing's voice was very calm. The golden triangle is gone. I can't adapt to the new rules of the game. There's no point in continuing to fight. Zhao Sampeng paused. I understand. I'll retire too. He had never been like this without fighting. Following that, Xiao Jing sent the word retired. Every pro team member's contract was different. Zhao Sanpeng's contract had expired half a year ago. But because there was someone important to him, he wanted to continue staying in Xiangnan. Now there was no need for that. The two pillars of Xiangnan announced their retirement at the same time. From then on, there was no response. Some people wanted to explain, while others didn't believe him. In any case, they exploded. Xiao Jing's classic scenes in the game were constantly being dug up. However, at this very moment, but he discovered something. In those classic scenes, there was always a shadow of a person. There was a tower kill in the middle lane, an ambush in the bushes, and a team wipe when the opponent came to the jungle. All of them had Xiangnan's former mid laner, Luoluo. Chapter 1583. There were indeed people who said this. Of course, there were also people who said that this was the opinion of brainless fans. In any case, one had to experience the fickleness of human nature on their own. However, after he retired, he wouldn't look at it anymore. Hence, Luoluo didn't know that Xiao Jing had retired. She had a dinner party to attend at night. Luoluo had gone on blind dates before. This time, she was prepared to make it clear in advance. But the person smiled when he heard her words. It doesn't affect me. What did he mean by it doesn't affect me? Luoluo looked up at the person sitting in front of her. His sleeves were half rolled up, and he was supporting his chin with his hand as he smiled at her. I thought you already have someone you like, but it seems like there's still a chance. As long as there's a chance, I can wait. Luoluo paused. The person stood up. Do you want to take a walk? We are too eye-catching. Luoluo wanted to leave, so she smiled. Let's go. Your personality hasn't changed. The man was good-looking, especially when he smiled. It was a little healing. You are straightforward. It's fine at home, but outside, you must have suffered a lot, right? This was the second thing Luoluo didn't expect him to say. The man took out his phone and flipped to the page with news about her. Because you play games. Sometimes, when you are on duty at the border, I would look at it. I don't believe it. Luoluo's fingers suddenly paused. The man smiled and kept his phone. I said so much because I want to tell you that I understand you very well. I understood you very well when we were in school, and I also understood what happened afterwards. When you left, I even thought of looking for you. It's not that I'm advising you not to play games, but I feel that a girl has to pay attention to many things outside. But at that time, I was too young and didn't know that liking someone can last for a long time. Luoluo's gaze landed on his face. She only said one word. Thank you. The man looked at her. Do you want to give your first love a hug? Classmate Luoluo. If I hug you here, the entire town will know about it. Luoluo's smile became prettier. For classmate Lung's reputation, I don't want it. The man raised his eyebrows. I'm just a rough guy. What reputation do I need? All the classmates wanted to come and watch you, but I blocked them all. Now that you're back, shouldn't you play some cards and get used to it? As someone who's been on many blind dates, I'm telling you, relax a little. Have you dated many times? Luoluo wanted to laugh. The man had a headache. I've rejected you many times, but I still can't escape. You're too outstanding. Luoluo casually plucked a tree branch. My mom said that you're the most promising person in the entire town. Up until now, no one knows which army unit you're from. Such a secret. You must not be simple. The man chuckled. I'm not as outstanding as you. If you hadn't left then, the recommendation wouldn't have landed on me. Luoluo, it's true that education is important, but sometimes, it's not that important. Some of us joined the army at a young age to protect our country. They didn't graduate from a famous university. Luoluo didn't expect him to know what she cared about the most. How much of my stuff have you seen? Every time you post on WeChat, I look at it. I think it's quite interesting. But it must be hard to retire, right? No one had ever asked Luoluo this question. Chapter 1584. Both the person and the game. This was the question that Luoluo had been thinking about for a long time. Was her choice of career wrong? She didn't regret it, but she had many regrets. It was different from what she imagined. There were too many things that she couldn't explain clearly. All along, she spent more time on training than her personal life. The arrival of the celebrity era meant that she had to communicate with people. It was quite funny when she thought about it. If she asked the captain to communicate with the fans, what would he say? For example, "Almighty Xiao, I like you." Captain. Luoluo relaxed when she thought about this. She wasn't the only one who wasn't used to it. That person wasn't used to it too. But he was always so strong. If it was possible, he would always be there. Luoluo didn't regret liking that person. She really didn't regret it. But she didn't want to continue. But similarly, she couldn't accept anyone. Hence, she rejected the man decisively. The man was tough too. It was probably because he was a soldier. He had a good personality. I know. Do you want to eat an ice cream? Luoluo realized that people who were good at communicating with others had a special characteristic. They could naturally change topics that would make people feel awkward. The man smiled faintly. Because you don't like me. That's why you are treating me. In front of them was the small shop in the town. Luoluo agreed and took out 2 ice creams. The two of them walked with the ice cream in their mouths. They were having a relaxed time. Humans really needed friends. Just as Luoluo was thinking about this, her phone rang. It was her mother. She used the most familiar method. How is it? Are you satisfied? You didn't come back immediately. There must be something going on. Your auntie and I didn't lie to you, right? This is Lung. Luoluo's volume wasn't low. She knew that the person beside her must have heard it. She held her forehead helplessly. Mum. Fine. I won't ask. Oh right, I'm not calling to gossip like before. Someone from home is looking for you. He said that he is from the same team as you. As Mother Luo spoke, she glanced at the tall and slender figure standing in the courtyard. He looks familiar too. He seems to be the person in your photo. It's Brother Fatty. Brother Fatty is here? So fast. Luoluo was obviously happy. Brother Fatty? Mother Luo looked at the person in front of her suspiciously. He wasn't fat at all. I'm here. I'm going in now. Luoluo hung up the phone. The man next to him said, Look at the puddles in front of you. His reminder was still too late. The man reached out and pulled Luoluo. He was helpless. Student, watch the road. Luoluo wanted to laugh at his tone. Sorry. Really? The man was also smiling. But looking at the sky, it should be raining again. Luoluo looked down. The sky was dark. You are looking at the sky. I am looking at you. This sentence is very suitable for men. Student Lung probably didn't even notice that there were too many emotions in her eyes. After all, she was the only girl he had ever liked. Luoluo didn't see such a gaze. Xiaojing, who was standing in the yard, saw it. Mother Luo smiled beside him. Seems like Luoluo is quite satisfied this time. Xiaojing didn't speak. His eyes darkened, and in the end he couldn't help walking over. Luoluo was standing with her back facing the house. She didn't see the person behind her. There were many puddles on the ground because it had been raining recently. It was true that Xiaojing took the high-speed train here. But if he wanted to get here, other than the high-speed train, he had to reverse. In the end, he took a taxi. When he entered the town, many people were looking at him. Chapter 1585. The sky darkened again. It looked like it was about to rain. Luoluo felt something falling on her face. It happened suddenly. A transparent umbrella appeared above her head. Classmate Lung, who was standing opposite her, instantly turned his gaze towards the person. Luoluo felt that something was amiss. She glanced sideways. However, in the next second, his body froze, and even his eyes were a little shaky. She couldn't believe it. Wasn't Brother Fatty the one who came? Why was it him? But in this misty rain, that person stood with an umbrella in his uniform. His handsome face didn't change at all. He was holding the umbrella for her. Her shoulders were drenched by the rain. Luoluo didn't expect this person to appear. Her mind went blank. She heard him saying beside her ear, "Why are you wearing so little when you're meeting your friend?" Luoluo habitually treated it as if she was still at the base. "It was sunny when I left." MH. Xiao Jing tugged the jacket off his uniform with one hand and placed it on her body. "Do you still want to continue talking to your friend?" Classmate Lung truly felt that this person. "Hello." Xiao Jing extended his hand. "I'm Luoluo's boyfriend. Thank you for sending her back." "Boyfriend?" Classmate Lung smiled. "I don't think so. I heard from Auntie that Luoluo is still single." In the past, Xiao Jing didn't talk much to people. But now it was different. "Auntie doesn't know yet. I'm here for you to check if I'm qualified." "Nonsense." Luoluo wanted to retort. But he grabbed her hand. His gaze was deep. "Are you going back?" Luoluo felt that she couldn't resist his gaze. Every time she trained till late, he would appear and look at her like this. "Go back." MH. Luoluo glanced at Classmate Lung apologetically. Classmate Lung took a step forward. "If Auntie isn't satisfied with him, you can contact me anytime. Also, you can't miss the class reunion." "I understand," Luoluo added. "I'm talking about the class reunion. I'll be there." Actually, it was good that her captain appeared. It saved her the trouble of explaining that she wasn't in a suitable state to be in a relationship. However, Luoluo really couldn't understand why he would appear here. Also, the words he said made her heart tighten. On the other hand, Mother Luo was standing in the courtyard. When she saw this scene from afar, she felt a little conflicted. As a mother, she knew better than anyone that the man was the one who had moved her daughter's heart. Before this, Mother Luo was still wondering how such a boy could exist in this world. His aura was too good. One look, and she could tell that he came from a scholarly family. He was completely different from the people here. Any girl who marries him will definitely be blessed. After all, the child was well educated. But she didn't think that way anymore. This person and her Luoluo were from two different worlds. The mother must be worried. As soon as she saw the boy, she could imagine his family background. Ordinary people would not be able to raise such a child. Under normal circumstances, how could such a child know how to care for others? If he really had the heart, her Luoluo couldn't have come back alone. His attitude was still the same. It was as if he had lost a battle and didn't want to pick it up again. As a mother, her heart ached when she saw this. In short, it wasn't suitable. Chapter 1586. From Mother Luo's attitude, Xiao Jing could tell that she didn't welcome him. At the very least, she wasn't as warm as when he first entered the courtyard. But she was still polite. She even asked him what he wanted to eat. But she didn't give him any time to be alone with Luoluo. Xiao Jing was the captain of Xiangnan. Although he was a man of few words, as someone from an aristocratic family, he was able to see the ways of the world. Hence, when Mother Luo was cooking, he helped. He didn't wear an apron and just sat there to help Mother Luo choose the wild vegetables. Mother Luo felt that this person was too fake. How could such a person choose wild vegetables? But when she saw him lower his head, he didn't even care that his white shirt was dirty. Instead, he moved his slender fingers and took out the tender vegetable heart and placed it in the wooden basket. Mother Luo didn't want to make it too obvious that she didn't welcome him. After Luoluo poured the tea, she saw the scene when she came out. When she was pouring the tea, she was organizing her thoughts. This person's appearance was a surprise to her. Based on the time, he should be preparing for the newbies in the team and had a lot of interviews to do. Why did he appear in her hometown and help her mother choose wild vegetables? This scene really didn't seem real. When this person wasn't training at the base, he would definitely be in the research institute or a high-end cafe. Occasionally, he would wear a pair of gold-rimmed glasses or a white coat. He would hold a book that she didn't understand and talk to people. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he came from a scholarly family. This was probably the only time she saw such a scene. The more Mother Luo looked at him, the more she felt that he was too skilled. Mr. Xiao, do you also choose vegetables at home? Auntie, you can just call me Xiao Jing. My mother likes to eat wild vegetables too. It's just that it's hard to find wild vegetables that grow in the north in the coastal city. But my hometown is in the north too. My grandparents like wild vegetables too. When I was young, I chose wild vegetables with them. After I started studying medicine, I got to know more wild vegetables. Occasionally, I would use them to make medicine. Xiao Jing changed his experiment to medicine making so that Mother Luo wouldn't feel distant. Mother Luo's eyes lit up when she heard this. I told you that wild vegetables have medicinal value. Even the expert said it, but Luo didn't believe it. Luo, who was called out. Her mother's attitude changed a little too quickly. Luo is worried about you too. However, if Auntie is looking at the comments of the experts on her WeChat moments, it's best to choose from them. For example, the wild herb we're choosing now has the effect of lowering blood sugar and lipids. It can also clear away internal heat and reduce internal heat, but at the same time, it's cold. It's best not to eat it if you don't have a good appetite, because if you eat too much, it'll easily cause indigestion, and Mother Luo finally found someone who understood her. One moment, she was enlightened. The next moment, she was praised for knowing so much. The next moment, she learned a lot about wild vegetables. She wanted to tell her sisters about what she had heard today. It was too practical. On the other hand, Luo felt like she was dreaming as she watched from the side. Captain, he had never spoken so much before. In her memory, he was a man of few words. He would occasionally touch her head, but he rarely did anything else. When it came to topics, it was usually other people who talked about it. Just as he was thinking. Chapter 1587. MMH. Just as she was about to pass him the cup, he suddenly leaned over. However, she saw him suddenly lean over, and just like that, in her position, his thin lips touched the glass of water, staining it with water. Luo wasn't in her teens or early 20s anymore. She would turn around and leave at any moment. Even this action made her heart skip a beat. But she didn't show anything on her face. She waited for him to finish drinking before keeping the cup. Then she sat beside him and cut the vegetables together. If she treated him as a friend, she would be much calmer. After so many years, she actually managed to fake it. Now it seemed easier. She had probably thought things through. But Luo was really happy that this person came. It was as if Grandpa Fatty came. Luo thought that she was finally similar to him. She treated him as a captain who fought alongside her. He was just a captain, nothing else. Xiao Jing also noticed that there was a subtle difference between them. But he couldn't tell what the difference was. Because the person in front of him wasn't distant from him. Even when they were eating, he kept putting food in his bowl. Captain, try this. It's my mom's specialty. It's delicious. Okay. Xiao Jing really didn't talk much now. It was probably because he had talked too much with Mother Luo that his throat felt uncomfortable. He thought about it and realized that it was probably because he was drenched in the rain. Luo scooped a bowl of soup for him and smiled at him from time to time. Her eyes were very beautiful. Xiao Jing paused his chopsticks. His gaze deepened. Mother Luo was sometimes a reasonable person. She didn't arrange for him to stay in the small motels in town. After all, he looked clean. Even though she was angry, this young man made her daughter different. From a certain perspective, this was growth. Her daughter was outstanding. But it didn't mean that everyone liked her. It was normal that no one liked her. As a mother, she only hoped that her daughter would marry someone who liked her, and that she would like him too. She wouldn't have any regrets and would be happy. After eating, Luo replied to a message. The message was from classmate Lung. He said that they were going to a gathering. Luo agreed. After so many years, she really wanted to see her childhood classmates. Xiao Jing poured tea for Mrs. Luo and glanced at her. When he saw the smile on her lips, he felt as if something was pressing against his chest. He knew very well who she was replying to. The person who had pulled her wrist today. Xiao Jing had never felt like this before. But he also understood one thing. He wanted to bring Luo back. A blind date or something. Not for her. Marrying a classmate was even more unsuitable for her. With Mama Luo's age, she didn't say much when she saw this scene. She just lowered her head and drank her tea. It was usually in a small town. By 9 o'clock in the evening, there was no one outside. Occasionally, the chirping of insects could be heard. After all, the college entrance examination was here, and summer was coming. Luo cut a plate of watermelon and placed it in front of Xiaojing. The network signal here isn't good sometimes. If you're bored, Captain, you can watch television for a while. Okay. Xiaojing looked at her face. Luo's fingers paused. She turned around and opened the wardrobe. She took out a blanket. This is new. No one used it before. When she said this, she looked at his shoulder again. His clothes weren't dry yet. She hurriedly found her white t-shirt. You can wear this first. I bought a super large one. It should be able to be worn by the fans. Chapter 1588. The entire bedroom was silent for a second. Luo was the first to speak. See if you can wear it. If it's small, I'll find another one. At that time, she had indeed done many things. She didn't dare to wear the uniform even after she bought it. After all, she was part of the Xiangnan team. It wouldn't be good if she appeared as his fan. At that time, she didn't even have the ability to prove herself. Hence, she didn't want to cause trouble for him. She started to talk about it seriously. At the start, she didn't seem to like him as a romantic partner. It was pure admiration. He was only 1 year older than her, but he was so amazing. She was a silent fan. With this attitude, Luo became a fan for a long time. In the end, before she entered Xiangnan, when she almost wanted to give up and stop playing games, he only said one sentence to those who said that she was not good. Wait until I see how she plays, then we'll talk. He gave her a chance to stay in Xiangnan. From that moment onwards, her silent fan turned into a silent liking. This liking lasted for 3 years. She couldn't talk about it. She didn't dare to talk about it. She didn't even dare to show it. Because at that time, no one would accept a relationship within the team. Now it was indeed an old version of the uniform. It seemed to have betrayed her. Xiaojing realized that Luo didn't want to talk about the past. He took the uniform and unbuttoned his shirt with one hand. Then he bent down and wanted to wear the uniform. When Luo turned back, this was the scene she saw. Even though everyone stayed in the same apartment when they were in the base, their rooms were separated. In the earliest meeting, the captain requested everyone to wear their shirts even when they were in the base because she was around. Hence, Luo had never seen such a scene. She would definitely feel the impact. She only looked back for a moment before turning her head away again. Of course, Xiaojing saw this, and the corners of his mouth turned up as he laughed out loud. Luo heard his laughter and turned back with her beautiful eyes. The person who was looking at her didn't care. Why should she care? But when he looked at her again, it was too deep. She reminded herself that she couldn't fall into his eyes. I can wear it. Xiaojing lowered his gaze. Luo placed the pillow down for him. I saw it. If you don't have enough blankets, send me a message. Luo. Seeing that she was about to leave, Xiaojing reached out to hold her wrist. It's probably too late, but I still want to tell you that I don't want you to go, so think about it. Do you want to go back with me? Luo's gaze landed on his face. Then she shook her head. It was very light. After playing esports for so many years, I'm a little tired. I also want to accompany my mother. Xiaojing's Adam's apple bobbed. He knew he was a little late. However, such an answer was indeed not within his expectations. He thought that as long as he thought clearly, she returned to him. But now that he saw the support uniform, Xiaojing understood something. She had waited too long for him. Not only had she been waiting for him, but she had also been waiting for him to understand her feelings for so many years. She had been waiting for the sound of her feelings for so long. During this period of time, she was afraid, worried, and in the face of those who disagreed with her, she still did not give up. Until now, she was tired. This type of support uniform. It should have been 4 years. It would be fine if it was 4 peaceful years. Chapter 1589. Okay, Xiao Jing replied. Luoluo didn't say anything else. What he had in mind was also verified. He came here because he wanted her to go back. That night Luoluo slept well. It was probably because she had let go of her feelings. The more people knew about her feelings, the easier it was for her to let go. But when she woke up the next day, Luoluo didn't understand why that person didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Instead, he followed her mother to the oldest market in the town and bought 3 sets of clothes. He looked as though he was planning to stay here for a long time. Fortunately, it was Xiao Jing. If someone else wore that color and style, it would be a terrible sight. But there was a type of person who could suppress the darker the color. That was because of his aura. Many people were asking when they saw him, Luoluo, is this your friend? Is he your boyfriend? He looks good. Luoluo hurriedly said. No, he is a very good friend, not a boyfriend. When Xiao Jing came over, he heard these words and felt a sharp pain in his heart. He had the chance to be her boyfriend forever. What was he trying to verify? Yesterday, Xiao Jing had been thinking about this question over and over again. Because when he saw her, his first reaction was that she wasn't bad. She had beautiful techniques, both her operation and her awareness. But when he saw her lowering her lids, she seemed to be tired. He thought that she wasn't just a sorcerer. She was a girl. Hence, from the start, he was used to taking care of her. Until now he was still like this. But who said that taking care of someone couldn't mean that he liked them? Even he was stuck in this line of thought and couldn't come out. But yesterday, he knew that she was giving up on him like a scholar. Just thinking about this made his heart feel empty uncontrollably. Yesterday he even sent Qin Mo a message. Luoluo probably doesn't know about this. In her eyes, you seem to be perfect. Luoluo should know that you aren't that perfect. Not bad, after all. She has waited for you for so many years. Finally, she can't wait anymore. It's good to consider others. Luoluo was as inhumane as usual. You don't have to ask my girlfriend about dating. You can just give up. Anyway, other than esports and scientific research, you are very popular in everything you do. Xiao Jing didn't bother about his words. After all, this person had a sharp tongue. He just asked, how did you know? She waited for me for so many years? It's a coincidence. When Qin Mo said this word, he didn't forget the person beside him. Lord Jiu, you still have 8 days before your college entrance examination. Are you going to continue playing with the cat and not marry me in the future? Or are you going to write a physics paper? Just when Xiao Jing thought he had forgotten about his matter. Chapter 1590. Luoluo probably cared too much about this, so she didn't even think about it. That's why she asked me such a question. Qin Mo added another stab. What were you doing then? Xiao Jing. He was just researching. But now that he thought about it, that scene, he had no impression of it at all. Just as Qin Mo said, he couldn't see it. Looking at Luoluo's dressing, she probably went to confess. Qin Mo was nonchalant. It has been so many years. If you really can't do it, Luoluo wouldn't lack suitors. I said the last sentence on her behalf. It was hard to tell who had said those words. Qin Mo laughed. He didn't seem to be talking to Xiao Jing. Instead, he was talking to the person beside him. Xiao Jing retired for Luoluo's sake. This is enough to prove that he is capable. This person is addicted to esports. He didn't even want his family business. Think about it. Many people didn't like to link money with love. Of course, they didn't understand. People like Qin Mo and Xiao Jing, who gave up all the support from their family for their dreams, must love this industry so much. But they were willing to give up their dreams for one person. They probably loved her so much that they blocked their own dreams. Moreover, Qin Mo knew what Xiao Jing was thinking. Before he left, he said that admiration and love weren't the same thing. If you admired someone too much, you wouldn't be able to see their flaws. What if they couldn't live together for a long time? Luoluo admired Xiao Jing too much. It was noon in the small town. The sounds of cooking could be heard everywhere. There were fewer vegetables in the house, so Mother Luo sent Luoluo to buy them. She left Xiaojing alone and ignored the guests. The two of them definitely had to go together. The people in the market would look at Xiaojing when they saw them. Luoluo glanced over. Do you want to wait here? It's a little dirty inside. There are poultry inside. It's okay. Xiaojing followed behind her. Luoluo didn't feel anything at the start. Later on, he took all the vegetables and she was only in charge of picking from the start. She felt that it was too intimate. More importantly, he looked like he was going to stay for a long time. He should be very busy at Xiangnan. The club wouldn't let him stay for such a long time. Luoluo turned around and looked at his slender and fair fingers. He was carrying the 3 plastic bags and had a scholarly air about him. It didn't suit this place at all. She also knew that he was a little obsessed with cleanliness because of his research. Otherwise, he wouldn't wash his hands so many times a day. However, when he followed her past the poultry area, his side profile didn't show any emotion, but it was a little whiter than before. It was probably because he had a cold. Luoluo knew that he wasn't feeling well yesterday, so she woke up early in the morning to buy medicine. With a lozenge in his mouth, Xiaojing was even less talkative, but the sunlight reflected on his chin was clear and clean. There is a kind of man that you will always be attracted to. This was because there was always a youthful aura around him. No matter how much time passed, it did not seem to fade. Even though he was carrying a plastic bag, you can also imagine what he is like in front of the computer. This person shouldn't stay here. Captain, when are you going back? Xiaojing glanced sideways and said in a hoarse voice, I'm not going back. Ha! Luoluo thought she heard wrongly. Chapter 1591. Luoluo's hands paused. If she had been the one carrying the plastic bags, they would have fallen onto the ground. Her heart tightened. She took a few steps and stopped. Captain, don't use such a method. What method? Xiaojing glanced at her. Luoluo took a deep breath. I really don't want to go back. I'm not being angry, I'm just tired. Xiaojing finished her sentence. Luoluo acknowledged him. Xiaojing stood there, wanting to caress her head like how he did in the past. At that time, he thought that he would take special care of her because she was his team member. Now he finally understood. He wanted to take care of her because she was Luoluo. At that time, he didn't have much time to sleep when he was playing games. Sometimes, after he finished a game, he would turn his head and see her sleeping on the keyboard. Then he would pull his jacket open and place it on her body. Then he would ask Zhao Samping to smoke with him. He still remembered what Zhao Samping had said. Captain, Luoluo is working so hard and there are still people scolding her. Why are we still in this industry? Luoluo said that it's to earn money. If it's really to earn money, it wouldn't be like this. He didn't speak. Because what was this person like? As long as the person who liked her understood. But there was no eternal love in this industry. Even if they liked her, they might not understand. Even he, after so many years, found out that she was so tired that she wanted to abandon the thing she loved the most. For the first time, Xiaojing felt his heart aching. It wasn't because she was trying to let go of him. Instead, he wanted to ask himself what he had been doing all these years. Playing games and winning the championship. Other than these, there was nothing else in his eyes. In the end, he couldn't even protect the person who gave Xiangnan so much glory. Xiaojing's hand slowly clenched into a fist. He said calmly, if you're tired, rest. I'll stay and accompany you. I'm not using any methods, I just want to accompany you. Luoluo was shocked again. Her heart was pounding. She wanted to ask Xiangnan what should they do. Didn't the new mid just come? What about the team members? But before she could speak, a chuckle came from behind. A chuckle came from behind her. Luoluo, what a coincidence. Following Luoluo's gaze, Xiaojing saw that it was the man who had taken her wrist that day, and his eyes couldn't help darkening. Luoluo felt that it was a coincidence too. You're here to buy vegetables too? No. The man walked over, and before he could say 2 words, Yi Zichen walked over. Someone was calling his name from the other side. Don't forget about tomorrow. The man responded and turned around, looking handsome as the sun shone down on him. Luoluo replied with a mmh and smiled as well. Looking at the person who was called away, the old man selling vegetables said, "This child is successful outside. Every time he comes back, he will bring a lot of books and stationery for the children at home. Just like you, Luo, he is always thinking about home. The two of you are really the golden couple of our town." Luo didn't say anything. She was a little embarrassed from the compliment. The prices in the town were very low. The things she gave to the school weren't worth much. However, this scene was different in Xiao Jing's eyes, because he knew her very well. As a soldier, he was kind-hearted and didn't forget his roots. He even did so many things. She liked almost every single one of them. Chapter 1592. He was probably suppressing something in his heart. When it was time to eat, Xiao Jing's cold got worse and his cough became hoarse. Luo wanted to bring him to the clinic in the small town for an 4 drip. He swallowed 2 pills and pressed his hand on her head. "I'm a doctor myself." Moreover, he knew very well where the problem was, so there was no need for an 4 drip. In the past, this person would never wait until it was this serious before taking medicine. Luo still felt that she had to take a look. Also, she didn't know if it was because his hand wasn't used to the environment here, but the side of his hand had a rash. It was fine if he caught a cold. But for esports players, the most important thing was their hands. The second after Luo saw the rashes, Luo's expression changed. She grabbed his hand and said, "Let's go to the clinic." She couldn't let anything happen to him here. Especially his hands. He bought the ointment and applied it. Luo was still worried and asked the doctors in the clinic many questions. They were all from a small town. The doctor laughed. "Luo, your friend isn't used to living here. He has an allergic reaction. You're so nervous. I thought he was your boyfriend." Luo instantly calmed down and glanced sideways at Xiao Jing. The man didn't seem to hear the doctor's words. He reached out and placed his hand on her head again. "I said I'm fine." Luo watched as the doctor widened his eyes. He didn't know how to explain it to others. Their captain liked to press her head. This was his old habit. In the eyes of others, they would probably look a little intimate. It was more than intimate. Luo couldn't see Xiao Jing's eyes from her angle. That pair of eyes seemed to hide too much gentleness. Almost all of his efforts were spent on this action. In the afternoon, Xiao Jing had to help Mama Luo cut vegetables again. Luo rejected him directly. "If you do this, your hands will be fine. If you itch, your hand speed will decrease." "It doesn't matter." Xiao Jing's voice was so light that Luo didn't even hear what he said. She just looked at him. Just then, Xiao Jing's cell phone rang. Luo looked at the caller ID and found it familiar. It was from the club. Xiao Jing stood up. "I'm going to take a call." Luo replied. "MMH." She knew that he was about to go back. Sitting in the courtyard, he looked at the setting sun. The phone call lasted a long time. When he came back, Luo opened her mouth. "Captain, you should buy a ticket." "No." Xiao Jing's throat hurt when he said these 2 words. Luo lowered her eyes and clenched her fists. "I came back because I want to start afresh. With you here, I can't start afresh. As you can see, I have my own life now. Actually, you don't have to worry about me. I will play with the kids in the kindergarten and occasionally eat ice cream. I have also found my own career. Other than esports, there are other industries that I like. I will stay here and be a primary school teacher. Even though my education isn't high and I don't even have a high school diploma, my classmate said that as long as I can get a teaching qualification certificate, I will be able to do some tutoring according to the actual situation." Luo lowered her eyes and clenched her fists. Luo paused for a moment. "So, I'm no longer the female teammate that you always have to worry about. You should really go back." Chapter 1593. Luo paused. She didn't deny it. Xiao Jing pressed his hand on her head. "But without you, I won't be able to live well. I don't want to play games and I don't want to do research. Even though it's late, I still want to say this. Luo, maybe I liked you a long time ago, But I didn't understand that it was like that. I thought I treated you well because you were my team member. Luoluo's gaze trembled. Her heartbeat was in a mess. Xiao Jing lowered his voice. It's good to be a teacher. Education isn't that important. Look at me. I have high education, but I still lost the person I like. Luoluo opened her mouth and wanted to say something. Mother Luo called them to eat. Xiao Jing looked up. Let's go. If it's really inconvenient, I will leave. Luoluo was in a mess. When it was time to eat, she couldn't eat at all. She sat in her room. She looked at the things that she collected and hid. She liked them too much. Because she liked them too much. Hence, sometimes she didn't even dare to touch them. It wasn't easy for her to let them go. She seemed to have to let go of that man. Then she could stop thinking about the days when she played games. Glory. Scolding. She would stay away. In the end, she didn't have the courage. She wasn't good enough for him. No matter what happened, he could stand there and not be defeated. She couldn't. The internet is really a magical thing. Anyone could say irresponsible things. It could wear away your love for an industry. She seemed to have forgotten why she wanted to play esports well. If she only wanted money, it would be much easier. That way, she would be able to deal with a series of plans easily. If she liked something, it would be easy to treat it seriously. But no matter what, people were manipulating things and benefits were the trend. The manager of the club had talked to her about retiring a long time ago. Long before she left, they had already looked for someone to replace her. The era of esports had arrived. They didn't want someone like her who was no longer fresh to everyone. Sometimes, there would even be scandals. The club needed to change and the team needed fresh blood. Luoluo understood what the manager meant. She knew that he wanted her to leave with dignity. Maybe they wouldn't be together. She could imagine it. He was still playing esports. And she was starting to dislike this industry. He wanted to fight side by side. Like what he likes, she likes too. Was it because the dreams he had when he was young were too beautiful? Only when they woke up would they have a clear understanding of reality. Luoluo closed her eyes. After she covered herself with the blanket, she couldn't help but bite her hand. It was raining outside. Even Xiao Jing's voice on the phone was hoarse. I'll go back when she's really happy. Captain, why didn't you tell Luoluo that you retired? Zhao Sampang was anxious. That way, you can gain more sympathy. Xiao Jing's gaze fell on one point. No. Why? Zhao Sampang didn't understand. Xiao Jing's black hair fell down, covering his hair. She participated in competitions when she was very young and thought that playing esports was a very cool thing. So no matter what she encountered, she never gave up. Now that she has woken up from her dream, she doesn't want to be broken into pieces. If I say that I'm also retiring now, her faith will collapse. She still wants to fight alongside us. Chapter 1594. Zhao Sampang's voice was a little hoarse when he said this. Xiao Jing didn't say much. He just replied, MMH. Zhao Sampang wanted to ask his captain many times. Wasn't he disappointed? Wasn't he disappointed in the face of such treatment? But he couldn't bring himself to ask this question. When his captain told him not to let Luoluo's dream be shattered, Zhao Sampang finally understood something. Why did this person retire? For a person. Why didn't he tell that person when he retired? To protect that person's original heart. So that even when she had to endure all this, she could still remember when she woke up the next day. She could do it again when she woke up from her dream. No matter how cruel reality was. He could always smile when he thought back to his younger days. He didn't want Luoluo to know that it wasn't worth it to fight side by side with him. This was the same as 3 years ago. Some words couldn't be said. He knew that he couldn't say it. No one knew better than this person what he and Luoluo were thinking about. Whether it was pure love or the feelings they had for each other for so many years. He had always been their captain. Sometimes, they thought too highly of themselves. They received too much love. They thought they wouldn't change. In this day and age, very soon, no one would remember who they were. They would lose the championship. This was normal. After the club understood that they couldn't get their captain back, They started to prepare to abandon him. It was indeed better that Luoluo didn't know about this. The new mid-laner was very popular. Something they couldn't do. He could do it. Hence he could stay. He couldn't let Luoluo know about this. Other people probably didn't understand. But Zhao Sampeng knew why his captain did this. When he went, he wanted to bring her back. He really wanted to be together. Now he probably wanted her to stay there. Then he accompanied her. That's right. Why did he come back? Zhao Sampeng looked up and glanced at the news released by the club. Some people were saying, I really don't understand why Almighty Xiao did this. Almighty Xiao is pretending to be dead. Zhao Sampeng is the same. Isn't the new mid-laner supposed to work together? Isn't this too much? They didn't even give us fans an explanation. Up to this point, Zhao Sampeng had lost all his emotions. He locked himself up and couldn't help but ask, Captain, do you regret playing esports? On the other end of the line, Xiao Jing paused for a moment before saying, repent. When Zhao Sampeng heard that, he felt really bad. Xiao Jing glanced sideways at the night sky outside the window. When Luoluo retired, she regretted it. I looked at the words of those people, the decision made by the club, and watched her leave. I regretted it. If it wasn't for esports, I wouldn't have met you guys. Zhao Sampeng paused again. Xiao Jing smiled and said in a low voice, that's enough. Zhao Sampeng cried like an idiot. No one could understand what kind of emotion that was. The next day, Luoluo woke up very early. He had thought that he wouldn't meet that person. But when she arrived at the courtyard, she saw that he had one hand wrapped in gauze and was fiddling with her flowers. It was still drizzling outside, and some of it landed on his hair. Such a white-robed youth really did not belong to the human world. Luoluo looked at his scholarly aura, and this was the thought that rose in her mind. I'll send you there. This was the first thing he said. Luoluo lowered her gaze. They are all my classmates. Chapter 1595. The two of them held an umbrella. They didn't walk a long way. Luoluo had a car, but her driving skills weren't good. The first time she drove on the road around the island, the engine even stalled. At that time, Zhao Sampeng laughed for a long time. Now her driving skills were still bad. Especially when there was such a person. Xiao Jing could roughly tell. He turned his head and said, change seats. She gave way generously and sat in the front passenger seat. She glanced at him from time to time. When she heard that he was coughing, she couldn't help but pass him a box of lozenges. Xiao Jing took one. He was completely different from Qin Mo. He never tried to hurt himself. Even Zhao Sampeng said, Captain, if you were half as shameless as Qin Mo, you would have gotten her long ago. But people were destined to be different. Luoluo liked Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing was like this. From a youngster to a man. She had seen it all. He didn't talk much and didn't show much expression. Address. Xiao Jing coughed and pressed the navigation button. Luoluo told him the location. It was a very close distance. It wouldn't take more than half an hour to drive. Xiao Jing didn't start the car immediately. He glanced at Luoluo before leaning over and buckling the seatbelt with one hand. Luoluo's breathing was a little tight. Her heart too. But that person was still very gentlemanly. After fastening the seatbelt, he stopped. His side profile was a little pale. Hence, when Luoluo walked into the restaurant, she couldn't get rid of that person's shadow. Luoluo. Someone walked up to her. Luoluo glanced up. It was classmate Lung. Almost everyone is here. Hurry up and go in. I'll wait for the rest. She was still smiling brightly. Luoluo replied, okay. In reality, she wasn't paying attention. When she walked in, she even had to force herself to smile when people greeted her. But Luoluo's arrival, some people didn't feel good about it. For example, Li Xian, who had liked classmate Lung for a long time. She looked at her attire and her face that didn't seem to have any traces of age. She picked up her wine glass and smiled lightly. Luoluo hasn't changed after so many years. I'm so envious. But I thought you would stay in the big city and not come back. After all, when you went over, you left with this sentence. It's not easy to survive in the big city. Luo glanced over and replied generously, "It's not easy. I know a lot of people who can't survive in the big cities anymore and want to come back to our small place to enjoy the scenery." Li Xian continued to smile. After all, the information in a small place isn't good. The internet was a strange place. It will toughen you up more than real life. Therefore, the moment he opened his mouth, Luo seemed to understand what she wanted to say. She placed the wine glass there and shook it gently. "You can say what you want to say directly." "What can I say?" Li Xian's fingers twitched. "It's too troublesome to talk about it. Let's just tell the group about your incident. That way, everyone will know how our great beauty Luo is being judged." Luo smiled. "Please." Li Xian didn't believe that she didn't care. Because of today's gathering, she had done a lot of research on Luo. She wanted everyone to know what was going on with her. Why did he come back to them? It was because this person had nowhere else to go. There was indeed some effect. In less than 3 minutes. Chapter 1596. Li Xian unlocked her phone. "How are you going to explain all this? Don't think that a small place like ours would keep people like you." Luo glanced over. Then she placed her wine glass down and stood up. Li Xian laughed. "You don't intend to say anything? Your phone is recording. It seems like you are prepared." Luo placed one hand on the table and pressed her body down. "Can you tell me what I said?" Li Xian didn't expect her to realize that she was recording. Luo's voice was calm. "I was fooled once in the past. It won't happen again." Li Xian smirked. "It seems like you have nothing to say." Luo glanced up. Humans are usually like this. At the start, they want to say a lot, but then they realize that the person asking you is very interesting. Hence, they don't want to say anything. Li Xian smiled. "You really know how to change the topic. Should I say that you are scheming?" Luo glanced over. "If you really want to say something, you can. I still want to compete and be with those people. The only thing that can defeat me is that they took away my longing for this. I know too well who is behind this and why I'm standing here. I don't even want to touch the mouse anymore. It's because I hate what I used to love." "Well said," Li Xian said nonchalantly. "I'm just letting everyone know that even your team's captain isn't playing anymore. It's obvious that you can't stay in the game anymore, so don't be here." Luo suddenly stopped in her tracks. "What did you say? He isn't playing games anymore? Who?" "Your captain." "Luo, don't tell me you don't know." Luo didn't listen to the rest of the sentence. Her mind was blank for a moment. When she regained her senses, she lowered her head and sent a message over. He had already lowered his head and sent a message over. "Where are you?" "In the car." The other side quickly replied with 2 words. Luo took a deep breath. She wanted to ask something, but she couldn't. After switching to another page, she called Zhao Sampeng directly. When Zhao Sampeng picked up the phone, he was still happy. "Hey Luo, you. He retired?" Luo's words interrupted him. Her eyes reddened uncontrollably. "Did he retire?" Zhao Sampeng cursed in his heart. "Luo, listen to me. It's normal to retire, right? You retired too. Everyone has to retire sooner or later." "Because of what?" Luo's fingers sank into her palms. "His condition hasn't deteriorated and his commercial value is still so high. No one will." "Is it because of me? Did I implicate him?" Zhao Sampeng gritted his teeth. "No. F***ck fine, it's because of you, but you didn't drag him down." Chapter 1597. After hearing the last sentence, Luo couldn't take it anymore. Luo couldn't take it anymore. She hung up the phone and ran to the underground car park. She didn't even ask for Xiao Jing's exact location. She was afraid that her voice would turn hoarse if she opened her mouth. He could still recognize his own car. But when she ran over, many things appeared in her mind. When she was very young, she carried her bag and walked out of this place. At that time, she didn't know what she would meet, what kind of people she would meet, and whether she would be able to turn the game into a competition. Later on, she was liked and disliked. She joined Xiangnan and won the championship. She thought that it was okay to be afraid of the dark. She just had to let herself shine. But if she couldn't shine, what should she do? Now she realized. He didn't want her here or there. There would always be a place she could go. He was her captain. He was also the person she never regretted liking. Over the years, what she had learned the most was to be on guard. Many people didn't understand, but he did. Hence every time, he would caress her head and not say anything. It didn't matter if she hated the person she once loved. It was because that person was still here. Xiaojing sat in the car. His throat was burning. He looked at his phone many times. He was thinking about whether he should go up. When he placed his eyes outside, he was analyzing his personality. Rather than saying that he was confirming. Rather than saying that he was worried that he would see someone else in her eyes. The worship would be destroyed. He didn't want to live in her worship. He really regretted coming here. From worship to liking. It wasn't something that couldn't happen. Qin Mo was right to mock him. He deserved to be abandoned. Xiaojing leaned back. His gaze was far away. He was tired, but he couldn't fall asleep. He was thinking about which stage they were at. During the class reunion, they would definitely say that the two of them were the most compatible. Xiaojing clenched his fists. He had never felt such an emotion before. He simply couldn't stand a person. Regardless of whether that person was good or not. He was really compatible with her. He even felt jealous. Yes. It wasn't that hard to admit some things. He was so jealous that he almost went crazy. Xiaojing even wanted to go up now and take her away. It wasn't that she didn't have some kind of impulse, but she knew very well that after leaving that place, she would at least be at peace here. Zhao Sampeng asked him if he was disappointed. He hadn't thought about that. They just wanted to continue fighting together. It was no different from before. The person who supported them no longer supported them. As long as they were still together, they could start over. However, sometimes, seeing things too clearly would make one feel powerless. He no longer touched the game. Unless one day they can all come back. But the reality was that he was too old to build another team. So he stopped touching it. Xiaojing coughed, swiped his finger across the screen of his cell phone, and stopped at the reply page. Just as he was about to type a sentence, the car door was pulled open. It was Luoluo. She stood there, her long hair a little messy like seaweed, accentuating her sharp facial features. Her red clothes were blazing, just like when they first met. Chapter 1598. After Luoluo said this, her eyes lit up. Are you willing? Almost in the next second, Xiaojing reached out and hugged her. Xiaojing reached out and hugged the man. His voice was hoarse. I should be the one saying this. Luoluo could only hear her intense heartbeat. But you aren't good with words. I couldn't wait anymore, so I spoke first. I don't know how long I would have to wait for you to say it. You only know how to take care of things for us. Xiaojing's hands paused. You knew? Sampeng told you? About your retirement? Luoluo lowered her voice. I know you did it because of us. You don't have to give us reasons to relax. Admit it, you like me. Xiaojing smiled. MH, I like you. I liked you from the start and I still like you. If I have to date, you are the only one I can think of. I thought it was a habit, but it wasn't. Luoluo leaned her face on his shoulder. I'm probably the only fan who managed to get her idol. After all, a certain someone said that he wouldn't have sex with his fans. You are an exception. Xiaojing didn't speak much, but the gentleness in his voice was obvious. There was nothing more beautiful than these 3 words. To an extremely principled person. How lucky she was to be an exception. Luoluo understood his meaning. If he really said anything, he wouldn't be the expressionless captain she knew. But Luoluo's face paused when it touched his chin. Why was the temperature so high? She looked at his face. It was so pale it was beautiful. You are already in such a state, but you are still waiting in the underground car park. Luoluo was so anxious that she wanted to pull him into the hospital. Xiaojing's voice was calm. The only thing I can do is wait here. If I wake up, I will definitely go up and tell your classmates that we are the most compatible. Luoluo paused for a moment. Then she smiled. "MMH, we are the most compatible. No matter what others said. It was fine if they thought she wasn't good enough for this man. It was fine if she wasn't outstanding enough. It was all in this sentence. She was in a hurry to go to the hospital. Her driving skills weren't good, and she couldn't let Xiaojing drive when he had a high fever. Luo still brought him up. He happened to see the group of students standing on the first floor. They hadn't started eating yet. When they saw Luo standing together with a handsome man, they were all stunned. After all, that man's temperament was really too good. It was clearly an ordinary white shirt, but when he wore it, it seemed to be transparent. He gave off the vibe of a young master from an ancient family, gentle as jade, with a strong scholarly aura. He didn't look like someone who should be with Luo. "Luo, who is this?" A student couldn't help but ask. Mr. Li, who was standing at the side, opened his mouth as well. "They don't look the same. I'm sure this gentleman doesn't know how our great beauty Luo is judged." Chapter 1599. Get married soon? The people present weren't the only ones shocked. Luo herself was dumbfounded too. But the ones who had the biggest reaction were the students. After all, the man in front of her was too good. Didn't they say that no one wanted Luo? Why did such a person come out? Classmate Li's lips froze for a moment before he smiled again. Luo's boyfriend? You have to take good care of Luo. She went on a blind date 2 days ago. I don't know if there's any misunderstanding between the two of you. The moment he said this, it seemed as though Luo, as a girl, was too casual in her relationship. Luo didn't say anything. She just wanted to leave with him. Her aura was strong. That was because the person in her hands was having a fever. But Xiaojing pulled her back and hugged her waist. He met the gaze of the group of people. It's not a misunderstanding. Luo wanted to break up with me, but I didn't agree to it. Hence, I shamelessly chased after her. I always knew about the blind date. I was the one who went to fetch her that day. Luckily, she chose me in the end. The moment he said this, it made it impossible for them to continue the conversation. But there were always people who didn't give up. That's because you don't know how many people she has flirted with in her circle. I heard that she has a crush on their captain. And it was recently exposed. This man is really magnanimous to be able to tolerate her so much. Xiaojing glanced over, his expression calm. Is that so? I'm her captain. I didn't even know that she has a crush on me. For a moment, classmate Li's expression changed. After all, she had never thought about it. To see him in person. Didn't the fans say that the Almighty was a man of few words and wouldn't care about such matters? Why did he come over to their side? As for the rest, I've lived with her for 3 years. I know very well what she's like and I don't mind. I like her because she never gives in to anything. Even if she knows that the road ahead will be difficult, she keeps walking. She's the best mid in our team, and this can't be changed by a few words. It's already very difficult for her to walk out from here and walk to my side. When she was young, she encountered many problems. That's nothing, as long as she chooses me in the end. This part left the man with the surname Li completely speechless. Xiaojing didn't deny it. He simply said, I know best what she's like and I don't mind. It stopped the man from saying anything. Some of the students present also vaguely understood the twists and turns in this matter. Even a man would inevitably run into trouble when he was working hard outside, let alone a woman. What's more, these words were the thoughts of men. The best mid laner. What did that mean? Men only needed to touch the game to know. Let's put the pro league aside for now. This wasn't something an ordinary person could do. Now that things had come to this as old classmates, other than sending their blessings, there wasn't much else they could do. Brother, take good care of Luo in the future. She was the campus belle of our school back then and many people liked her. When people come and see this scene, they definitely won't be able to accept it. Xiaojing's words today were really out of line. I won't give others a chance. Chapter 1600. Xiaojing grunted in response. Before he left, he didn't forget to invite people to attend their wedding. especially after seeing Luoluo's classmate who was a soldier. Other than smiling bitterly, classmate Lung was basically at his wit's end. In reality, Luoluo had already rejected him. Moreover, it was the kind of rejection that gave him no chance at all. But in his heart, he thought that as long as he waited, there would be hope. Now he more or less understood. When the two of them stood together, it was as if there was no room for anyone else. This had nothing to do with being in a relationship. That was something that could only be obtained with time. After saying goodbye to her old classmates, Luoluo took Xiaojing to a taxi. Xiaojing fell asleep almost as soon as he got in the car. He didn't know if it was because of someone's concern. Luoluo glanced sideways at this person, and the corners of her lips curled up. There was an extremely beautiful smile on her pretty face. So many years. She seemed to owe him a sentence. Thanks for taking care of me. That was why she could still dream after experiencing so much. We all say that we like it strongly, and we desperately want to tell that person. However, he didn't seem to be like this, as he was a man of few words. Was it because he was the captain from the very beginning? Luoluo reached out and touched that person's eyes. When the driver saw this, he found it unbelievable. Miss, the two of you seem to have a good relationship. Mate, Luoluo replied. The sweetness was gone, but she still wanted to reach the hospital as soon as possible. Fortunately, she did not drive away from the underground parking lot. Her driving skills were not good, and he was like this. After arriving at the hospital, Xiaojing was hooked up to an intravenous drip and slept for less than an hour. Luoluo was thinking about what he said about getting married soon. According to this person's personality, he would never say anything casually. But marriage, Luoluo washed her face while he was asleep. He felt like he was dreaming. When she came back, Xiaojing was already awake. Luoluo bought 2 bottles of water. She opened one and passed it to him. The phone in her mouth vibrated crazily. It should be from the discussion group. Only the discussion group would cause such a huge commotion. Luoluo swiped open her phone casually. When she lowered her lids to look at the page, her face turned slightly hot. Because the person in the group chat was none other than her. The reason was because of a certain someone's words. I just proposed to Luoluo. We're getting married soon. Help me tag her. You can reduce the gift money. F***CK, F***CK. I must have opened my phone in the wrong way. Luoluo, really? Lin Chuntao said, you have to think it through. Marrying such an unromantic man will only drive you mad. I just finished lunch. I'm telling you, you're feeding me dog food again. Luoluo, reject him. Marry me when I'm 18. Coco snorted. I'm the most handsome. Ha 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 ha. Why do I feel like I'll be able to hold my godson soon? She changed her name again. Damn it. She was humiliated by Poker Face Xiao. What's so great about getting married? Lin Feng was very playful. Luoluo, wait for me. I will be amazing in the future. I will be handsome and rich. A domineering CEO is a good match for you. Yin Hu arched a brow. What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for you to become straight? He added. I wish you all the best, Xiaojing and Luoluo. I want to be the best man. Bojo smiled faintly. The bride will definitely only look at me and not the groom. Handsome Jiu, your knight. Goddess Luoluo, get to know him better. Lin Feng laughed. I want to know how Captain feels now. Poker Face Xiao is getting married, but he's still waiting for your college entrance examination. Haha. Chapter 1601. In less than a minute, Lin Feng received a call from his assistant. Manager Lin, the contract with the Qin Group has gone cold. Lin Feng stilled. His shirt collar was slightly open, and he was half leaning on the sofa. He sat up immediately. Gone cold? How is that possible? We are brother companies. The assistant coughed lightly. The Qin Group told you to think about what you said. What did I say? Lin Feng stopped. How could he forget about his captain's vengeance? Yin Hu was standing beside him. When he heard the voice, he glanced up from the report. What is it? Little Spade is really Captain's sore spot, Lin Feng said. He wanted to turn on the air conditioner because of the heat. Yinhu glanced at him. It's a small office. Didn't you say to save as much as possible on the air conditioner? That's right. Lin Feng sat beside him. I'm hot. When Yinhu heard this, he reached over and pressed the back of the person's head. Then he leaned over and his thin lips landed on the person's neck. There was a hint of coldness. Is it still hot like this? Lin Feng stilled. It was even hotter. F*ck he brought this person over to admire his beauty. It wasn't for him to make a move on him. It was the same for a boyfriend. Kiss kiss, he only knew how to kiss. His heart was beating extremely fast. Lin Feng wasn't a pretentious person. He pressed down on his shoulder and pushed him onto the office chair, intending to kiss him. Yinhu arched a brow. Isn't your waist uncomfortable? I'll F*ck you, Lin Feng said. Yinhu chuckled. Oh. What? He didn't believe in his abilities. Lin Feng's skills were indeed good. But for some reason, whenever he was with Yinhu, he always felt weak. At the start, he was indeed domineering. But he didn't know when it started, but he had been kissed senseless. It was the same this time. He was the one pressing down on Yinhu. How did it turn into him sitting on the office table? He stood up and when he leaned over, his fingers had already unbuttoned his shirt. Did I mention that you're very handsome when you work? So handsome that I want you. The voice beside his ear was deep and bewitching. Lin Feng's breathing was no longer under his control. Next time definitely, it's me who wants you. Yinhu chuckled and planted a kiss on his ear. I'll wait for you next time. However, the topic that Lin Feng started wasn't over yet. A certain almighty, who was about to get married, was sitting at a dinner table while others were still talking about the business circle. He said faintly, this year's college entrance examination is really slow. Young Master Qin is also concerned about the college entrance exams? At the dining table, CEO Wang laughed. My son is also taking the college entrance exam this year. Seriously, I've been looking forward to it day by day. I just want it to end soon. Does young Master Qin have a younger brother or sister taking the college entrance exam as well? Qin Mo replied absent-mindedly. It's not my brother or sister, it's my wife. Husband, madam? The successful people at the dining table all paused for a moment. Then she remembered that Qin Mo was only in his early 20s. Understanding dawned on her. Are you worried about your wife's results? I understand this feeling. Director Wang continued to lead the conversation in a normal direction. Everyone is worried at this time. Unexpectedly, Qin Mo put down the wine glass in his hand, his voice cold and indifferent. No, I just want her to finish her exams quickly and marry me as soon as possible. Chapter 1602. He really couldn't reply to this. Boss Wang, who was trying his best to lead the topic in a normal direction, stuttered. Mary cough, I wish young Master Qin's wish will come true soon. After he finished speaking, he lifted his head and didn't speak anymore. Drinking was more practical. Qin Mo's thoughts didn't stop after the meal ended. After they got into the car, his assistant asked, Are you going back to the company or your home? Qin Mo replied nonchalantly, To her place. Needless to say, his assistant already knew who she was. Before he drove off, he wanted to send a message to Miss Jiu to study hard. Qin Mo, who was sitting at the back, spoke again. Don't do such things like sending messages. His assistant immediately kept his phone. He felt that his CEO wasn't very patient today. At this moment, Bo Jiu, who was biting a lollipop, was teaching her disciple how to use a Smurf account. What if she got bullied? Although her disciple was fierce, there weren't many people who knew what was good for her. Little Mo Bei, who was sitting in front of the computer, glanced up and said faintly, Master, it's time for you to write your test questions. I don't have the energy to write, I'm hungry. Bo Jiu smiled devilishly. She supported her chin with one hand. How about I bring you out to eat hot pot? Little Mo Bei stood up. I'll cook for you. You can't eat stimulating food before the National Higher Education Entrance Examination. Bo Jiu raised her eyebrows in amusement. Where did you get all these from? Little Mo Bei was expressionless. She seemed to be thinking for a moment before saying, My neighbor's sister is also taking the National Higher Education Entrance Examination. Her family members all say that. Bojio's slender figure leaned against the wall. She bit on a strand of dog's tail grass lazily. She had a handsome side profile. I'm bored. I want to drink. You can't drink either. Little Mo Bay took a potato. Shall we make potato beef? Bojio leaned back. There's no meaning in life if I can't eat hot pot or drink. Little Mo Bay washed the potato and placed it on the chopping board. She comforted her master seriously. After the National Higher Education Entrance Examination, you can marry your master's wife. Bojio's eyes lit up. Beneath her silver hair she smiled. All right, I'll bear with it. Compared to hot pot and wine, your mistress is more important. That's a good title. Use it more often in the future. Before little Mo Bay could nod, she saw the figure that appeared behind her master. Bojio realized it too. Before she could turn around, a clear and cold voice rang in his ears. Master's wife? Isn't that a good title? I'm his master, so of course you're his wife. Bojio pretended to be deep. Otherwise, the seniority would be messed up. Chin Mo smirked, holding on to her wrist as he walked up the stairs. A certain someone still needed to be disciplined, behind closed doors. As for the method of discipline, it would always end with marks on Bojio's collarbone. It is still the same today. Bojio raised her head, the curve of her jaw carrying a fragile beauty, but also as handsome as a youngster. She lowered her voice. Her breathing was a little messy, but he could still vaguely hear her saying softer. Chapter 1603. Bojio felt that the Almighty was being too reserved. He didn't need to wait for the exam to be over. But on second thought, marrying after the exam wasn't a bad idea. Chin Mo glanced at the devilish smile on a certain someone's face. He arched a brow and placed the jacket over her head. It was better not to see this fellow. Especially when her collarbone was exposed, it would always make her lose control. Bojio didn't understand. She pulled the jacket off and was about to speak. Do you want to explain the term mistress? Chin Mo glanced over casually. Bojio smiled, changing the topic naturally. It's princess, it has been affecting my exam papers. Princess, who was eating cat food on the balcony. Tell me, I'm still eating, how did I get implicated? Chin Mo glanced up, glancing towards Princess before his gaze landed on a certain someone's face. He asked slowly, how did it affect you? Whenever I'm writing the exam papers, it would ask me to play with it. If I don't, it would be depressed, Bojio said in a serious tone. Princess's fur stood up. Meow meow meow. You were the one who wanted to tease me. I definitely wouldn't be depressed. It's a cat's nature, can you blame me? Bojio smiled lazily. Look, it's asking me to play with it again. Princess. How infuriating, but it couldn't speak. Meow. She must have been really bored to be able to tease a cat like this. Chin Mo raised his finger, pulling her back, his voice calm. Don't bully a cat. Princess. Master, sob sob sob, fortunately, you haven't been seduced by its beauty. Chin Mo continued. I'm delaying your exam papers. Princess. Just pretend it didn't meow. I can't focus if you don't look at me. Bojio replied lazily, her hand still wrapped around Chin Mo's waist with a devilish smile. Princess truly felt that his master was in danger of being slept with by this fellow. But his master didn't think so, instead he enjoyed it. Even though his master didn't show it on his face, his gaze hadn't left her face ever since he entered. Forget it, since a certain someone had fed him dried fish today, he would just treat it as a daily show. But he was willing to bet. If the master was here, this fellow would only look at the master, and not write the examination paper. In any case, he didn't like to study. Of course, Chin Mo knew that, but under normal circumstances, he wouldn't be able to reject a study companion. Especially since it was suggested by a certain someone. Chin Mo unbuttoned his sleeves. How many papers are left? Bojio replied lazily, not much. Chin Mo knew her well. You didn't write much? Bojio saw that she had been exposed so quickly. She leaned back in her chair and smiled suavely. How is that possible? I'm also someone who finished an entire paper. Chin Emo glanced sideways. His expression was calm and his voice was the same. Lord Jiu is really amazing. You can only finish 1/20th of the task in an entire day. An ordinary person would be able to write 2 test papers if they just did it casually. How did you waste your time and only write 1? Grandfather Butler, who knocked on the door and came in with tea and snacks, only wanted to laugh when he heard this. Young Master Chin's poisonous tongue always managed to stab young Lord. However, perhaps ordinary people didn't understand, but it was really good to have someone to manage the young master like this. Chapter 1604. In order to prove that she was doing something proper, she whipped out her phone and swiped a few times, a devilish smile on her face. I'm choosing a partner's suit and gown. Since my goddess is getting married, I have to look dashing. Chin Emo glanced at her, his voice faint. Why are you dressed so handsomely for Lualua's wedding? We have to let Poker Face Xiao maintain a sense of danger at all times. Bojio stuffed one hand into her pocket. Chin Emo smirked. Why? Are you planning to kidnap the bride? Bojio held her chin and tilted her head to kiss him. She smiled. Brother Emo, Luoluo is a girl. In other words, you don't have to be jealous at all. The corners of Chin Mo's lips lifted, and he replied nonchalantly, the people calling you hubby on the internet are all girls. They don't mind that you are a girl, and they still want to marry you. What do you think about this? Bojio knew he was referring to the time when someone had confessed to her. Her face was cold and serious. I have a family, external seduction won't work on me. Chin Emo knew that her words couldn't be trusted, but a hint of a smile still flashed across his eyes. Remember what you said. It's the same even if you go to university. You have a family, so you should stay away from your seniors. Bojio wasn't very interested in other people. But for some reason, perhaps because she was about to graduate, she received a lot of love letters. The last time, Chin Emo had seen it by accident. Only then did he realize that it was wrong to say that girls were not a threat. A certain someone's face really attracted flowers and butterflies. Not only did he have to guard against the men, but he also had to guard against the girls. He really wanted to hide a certain someone so that no one could see him. Bojio wasn't aware of his thoughts since the Almighty's expression had always been cold and indifferent. The only thing she was thinking about now was that if her father was still here, she would definitely tell her father that she was going to marry the little Princess Chin that she had been yearning for day and night. She was no longer alone. Downstairs, Grandpa Butler's hand that was flipping through the calendar paused for a moment. Then he looked down at the pocket watch in his palm. The day was almost here. The day the master left. Every year at this time, young master would be different from usual. It was probably because he was too young at that time. But within half a year, he had to face 3 separations. The young master even firmly believed that his master was not harmed, and that he would bring his wife back one day. However, everyone knew very well in their hearts. That kind of hope was too slim. If master was still here, he would have appeared long ago. Year after year, sometimes people had to give themselves hope if they wanted to move on. The young lord never said that she was born in the dark, wanton and evil. She was so elegant that she could always withdraw from the night scene. But every time he pulled away, he felt even more lonely. The old butler knew all of this. Many people felt that his back view was handsome. He was a lone wolf, unrestrained and unrestrained. No one thought that. See, he once had a family that everyone envied. Her father liked to live off a woman, and always looked like a teenager. Her mother loved to wear professional attire, elegant and beautiful, and would give her the best food to eat. Young master had experienced all of these before. A year after master left, he had seen young master wake up at night. His little figure was curled up on the sofa in the living room, as if he was waiting for someone. He had been waiting for so many years. Chapter 1605. As a qualified housekeeper, Grandfather Butler would definitely tell Chin Emo about this. He even mentioned something else. Young lord went back to look for you and left a letter in your mailbox. Letter? Chin Mo's eyes flashed. Grandfather Butler continued. Actually, young lord probably hoped that you would accompany her back then. After all, the changes were too big. That was the sentence. When Qin Emo walked back to his room, his heart felt a little sluggish. He reached out and hugged the person who had already fallen asleep on the bed. He kissed her hair. He didn't take good care of her. At that time, he shouldn't have left with that thought. Qin Emo stood up and dialed his assistant's number. Prepare 2 plane tickets overseas. MMH for me and her. After her exams. Bojio didn't know about the plane tickets. This day, she woke up earlier than any other day. It was strange. In her previous life, she had never taken exams seriously. This time, she took it seriously. But compared to the other students, Bojio was much more relaxed. Many taxis were free on this day for the students taking the college entrance examination. Some private cars tried their best to avoid the roads with schools. This was to ensure that the roads were clear so that the students could take their exams in peace. There were also medical staff outside the competition grounds. The most obvious one was probably the slender figure who appeared at the school gate on a skateboard. She had silver gray hair and a tear-shaped mole at the corner of her eye. She always gave off a devilish vibe, and was very handsome. Many people thought that Bojio wouldn't apply for a school that had a high requirement for results. After all, even if she didn't take the exams, she would still have a good future. But they didn't know that this exam was the key to marrying little Princess Qin. Hence, even when she opened the exam paper, Bojio's side profile was more serious than before. She didn't wear her school uniform today. She wore a pure black t-shirt with earrings. She looked like a vampire prince. Her skin was very white. When her gaze landed, the rustling sound of her pen on the exam paper could be heard. Her handwriting wasn't ugly. It looked like Qin Mo's handwriting. This wasn't strange. After all, when she was young, Qin Mo held her hand and taught her every stroke. Hence, the handwriting was 70 to 80% similar. Most of the provinces had 2 days for the college entrance exam. For every student, these 2 days were the final struggle. Sleeping early and waking up early had never happened to her before. But for the past 2 days, he had been living a normal life. When the bell for the last round rang, almost every student leaned back in their chair and sighed in relief. Then came the excitement, the uncontrollable excitement, but also a little disappointment in his heart. Bojio didn't feel disappointed at all. Finally, he could marry little Princess Qin above board. Basically, he was thinking about how to take advantage of her. Bojio walked casually with her skateboard. Just as she was deep in thought, she glanced up and saw the person waiting for her. She couldn't help smiling. There was a hint of devilishness as she reached out to hug the Almighty's waist. He reached out and held her wrist. Seeing that she didn't take advantage of him, a hint of a smile flashed across his eyes. The 3 Dharma seals were still faint. Time is tight. Let's hug in the car. Chapter 1606. Qin Mo glanced at her. Other than hugging, what else can you do? Behave yourself. Bojio didn't know what to do with the little princess. Fine, behave yourself. But she hadn't expected a chauffeur. Also, the direction wasn't right. Are we going to the airport? Bojio would memorize the entire city map no matter which city she went to. This was a talent she had been nurtured by Mr. Bo since young. Besides, she had been in Jiang City for so long. Of course, she was familiar with the basic route. MH. Qin Mo replied calmly. We're going on a business trip. You're considered my luggage. When he said this, Bojio was reminded of her childhood. When he had come back, she had wanted him to treat her as his luggage. She had wanted to hide in the luggage. That was really childish. Business trips were good too. She didn't have to wait for the results. Once the results were out, she would pass the admission requirements. She would ask grandfather Butler to prepare for the wedding. Bojio was indeed treated as his luggage. That was because Qin Mo had only brought 1 luggage. When they were changing the boarding pass, Bojio sat on it. Qin Mo held onto the luggage handle with 1 hand. You're going to be checked in too? The flight attendants will reject me since I'm so handsome. It's safer to leave me outside. Bojio was still wearing a mask because the movie had been online for a long time. It was easy to meet people who would recognize her. Tina Mo held on to her hand. It's not safe to leave you anywhere. Bojio. She wasn't a ticking time bomb. The person walking in front must be a multi-level marketer, Bojio said lazily. I can hack into his phone network and, Chinmo reached out and lifted her chin. Through the mask, he kissed her lips. Hacking into his phone network is illegal in China. Kiss me a few more times and I'll consider stopping, Bojio said devilishly. Chinmo pinched her face. When Grandfather Butler hears this, he will feel that he has failed to teach you. I'm also tempted by his beauty. Bojio smiled faintly. Chinmo looked at her face, his eyes deepening. Then he pulled her into the corner. Further ahead was the smoking area, which happened to be a blind spot. He reached out to remove a certain someone's mask. When he lowered his eyes, even the strength of his arm around her waist had changed. The tip of his tongue came into contact with a slightly cool touch, and a numb feeling rose from his tailbone in an instant. Then his mind went blank. Bojio thought about it. Back then, if they had only sent him over and used the honey trap to the end, she would have surrendered long ago. It was not good to only look at one's face. Yes, it was indeed not good. But kissing seemed to be able to fascinate people. I want to be closer to you. That way, he would be able to avoid thinking about some dark things. She had said long ago that when one didn't know what warmth was, they probably wouldn't crave it so much. However, after knowing this, even if he was in the dark, he still wanted to be illuminated by the light. Every year at this time, she would feel that everywhere was empty, so she would stay in the nightclub for several days in a row, surrounded by a group of people. Lively places seem to have this kind of magic. At the very least, it could occupy some of your thoughts and prevent you from thinking about certain things. There should be no more nightmares this year. After kissing, there were sweets to eat. Chapter 1607. When they reached the plain, the person beside him was indeed much more obedient. When Chinmo turned his head, she was already asleep. Her silver hair fell down and hit the bridge of her nose. She looked strangely obedient. The air stewardess came a few times. Chinmo indicated that it wasn't necessary. Then he emptied his hand and covered her with a blanket. His eyes paused for a moment as he looked at that face. Sometimes he would always think about it. If he had really taken her away as a piece of luggage back then, wouldn't he have so many regrets if he did that? Whenever he thought about that small figure hugging the keyboard and sleeping when he wasn't around, he would feel an indescribable pain. There would always be an indescribable discomfort. She was still here. She was still here. Chinmo thought for a moment. He reached out and took the amulet off his neck and put it on her. He caressed Bojio's hair. Then he kissed her lightly. When the air stewardess saw this scene, she felt that it was beautiful. It wasn't like she hadn't seen couples on the plane, but she had never been like this man. He clearly had a cold and noble temperament, but his eyes never moved away from another person. Even the person who was sleeping moved his thin lips. The corners of his mouth would curl up as if he was smiling. How much did a person like another person? He could look at the other person for up to 8 hours and he wouldn't feel tired. Even when he saw the other person's actions, he would want to laugh. Moreover, she had never seen someone with such patience. Little Bojio, drink some water. He fed her personally. Even if she didn't wake up, he had to ensure that she drank water on the plane. After drinking the water, Bojio slept well. The moment she opened her eyes, she felt hungry. Chinmo peeled a piece of candy for her. We're about to land. Eat after we land. What do you want to eat? Hot pot. Bojio leaned on the small table and smiled. Order 5 servings of beef. Be reserved. The air stewardess listened. This was the first time she saw someone eating hot pot overseas. And 5 servings of beef? Reserved? 5 times more reserved? Chinmo glanced at her. Bojio heaved a long sigh. Growing people like us eat a lot. You are probably the worst person who has ever been insulted while growing up, Chinmo said. His long fingers peeled open the packaging of the lunch bag and touched her lips. Bojio tilted her head and said as she ate, exams consume too much energy. We can look for William and get him to treat us. William. Chinemo chuckled. It seems like you guys are still in contact. Bojo paused in the middle of eating. I've already blacklisted him. I didn't even agree to add him. Why did you blacklist me? Chinemo replied slowly. We are about to hold our wedding. I will invite him and Hoshino to be the groomsmen. William, still flirting with the blonde in the pool. Why does he suddenly feel a chill on the back of his neck? No matter what. After landing, Chinemo brought Bojo for a hot pot. Chinatown still had a very strong oriental atmosphere. You should be familiar with the street in front. Chinmo's voice was calm. Bojo glanced over. We fought there before. Honestly, brother Mo, did you do a lot of research to catch me? If not, why do you know where I go and have so many tricks up your sleeves? Chapter 1608. Chinemo glanced at her, his voice calm. What kind of trick are you talking about? Disguising yourself and pointing at the competition video. In the shopping mall, you would boast about how cool you are when you play games with the boss who sells laptops. That kind of trick? That was obviously her dark history. Why would she care about such a dark history? Bojo smiled devilishly. Which genius came up with such a trick? It sounds cool. Chinemo seemed helpless. He reached out to pinch her face. Little Bojo. MH. Bojo watched his face, her heart itching. She wanted to touch him after she was full. The ancients weren't deceiving. The desire for food and beauty was probably what it meant. Do you want to play a game? Chinemo stuffed a hand into his pocket, his eyes bright. Bojo pulled herself away from the beauty and looked at him. What game? The last time we came we fought here. I was the one who found you. This time you will find me. What do you think? Chinemo lowered his gaze. If you find me, I'll be yours. Bojo arched a brow. I can do whatever I want tonight. In the future, you can do whatever you want. Chinemo hinted. If your hands are itchy, we can come overseas. After all, you are Z. Bojo understood that he was giving up something for her, but she didn't want to let go. He was hers. Besides, he was the one who agreed. How do we play the game? She was best at games. I will give you hints. Solve the hints before the sky turns dark, and you will be able to find me. Chinemo looked at her. I might not be able to find you after the sky turns dark. Bojo glanced at the time. Where is the hint? It's in William's hands. Bojo felt that he was trying to trick her again. Chinemo saw through her thoughts. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. William, who was about to lay down, was startled. He wanted to curse in Chinese. Why did the devil call him at this time? Hello. William tried his best to show his imposing manner. Chinemo was nonchalant. Are you at the royal family hotel? Oh no. Why did this person, who looked like an Eastern prince but was actually a demon, know his position so well? You sent someone to follow me again, Chin. Friends don't do that. William argued. You Asians should be very cultured. Chinemo automatically ignored his words. Jill will find you in 20 minutes. There's something I want to give her in your bag. Give it to her. 9? You mean Gio? William immediately straightened his body and pretended to be a gentleman as he paced back and forth. I have to choose a suit. You know, she's my white moonlight, Chinemo scoffed. William, do you want the adult me to break your legs again? Hey, it's true, brother. You're being too cruel. I'm treating Gio now. In your Eastern language, my thoughts are very pure. I don't have any bad intentions. I just don't know if Gio will be excited when she sees me. It could be said that William's desire to live was very strong. Chinmo's voice softened. You're thinking too much. Nothing about your looks can excite her. These words stung his heart. Why had Gio liked pretty boys since she was young? How did he lose? Chapter 1609. Did you hear that? Chinemo glanced at the person beside him. Bojo arched a brow. Why do you have William's contact details? It's convenient for him to be my best man, Chinemo replied slowly. Bojo laughed. Brother Emo, you're hurting me. Little William thinks his friendship touched you. Chinemo pinched her face again. Just take the things and don't play with others. You don't have much time, understand? When did I play with others? Bojio was devilish. I'll definitely solve the game seriously later. Chinemo looked at her. You go first. I'll leave after you enter the building. This way she couldn't play any tricks. Bojio felt regretful. I won't follow you secretly. Do you believe what you're saying? Chinemo stuffed his hands into his pockets. Bojio smiled faintly and turned around. I'll definitely find you. Brother Emo. Wash yourself up and wait for me. When Chinemo heard this, he raised his beautiful eyebrows. Little Tiger Bo was always confused about her position in the world. Young master. The shadow that had been following behind them appeared. The things are prepared. They're at the back of the car. Chinemo replied indifferently. He didn't leave immediately. Instead, he waited until the shadow walked further away until he couldn't see it anymore. Then he walked in the opposite direction. Parked outside the crowd was a limited edition Lamborghini. On the surface, it looked expensive. But in reality, the most unusual thing about it was that it could speak. Devil, why are you alone? The rearview mirror reflected the surroundings. Where's my master? Chinemo opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. His side profile was handsome and elegant. She's playing a game. Aren't we waiting for her? As an intelligent sports car, it is very loyal. Chinemo pressed the steering wheel with one hand and turned it. Let's wait somewhere else. Where? Little Blackie was confused. Some of the programs couldn't be answered, but it knew that someone had placed something behind it. The devil was definitely going to do something to its master. At this moment, Bojio walked into the Royal Hotel. Even though she didn't have the room card, it was easy for her to take the receptionist's card. After all, no one would have too much resistance to a handsome young man in a black jacket. Bojio raised her hand and pressed the floor button, thinking about the possible clues that might appear. William was still thinking of ways to get rid of his female companion. He couldn't let Gio see this side of him. Gio would definitely misunderstand. Seriously, that devil Chinemo, why didn't he tell Gio to come? Baby, listen to me, William said to his female companion, who was hugging his arm and refusing to let go. I really can't do it today. Let's do it another day. The female companion didn't want to leave. After all, this was William. How do I know if you'll ask someone else out on another day? William wanted to say something. There was a swoosh. The door swung open. A tall and slender figure walked towards the swimming pool. The youth's hair was grayish-silver, and there was a hint of evil in his handsomeness. The black jacket on that person gave off a dark and mysterious aura. Chapter 16:10. Most importantly, that person didn't seem to be embarrassed at all. Instead, he grabbed a white wooden chair and placed it next to the swimming pool. He sat on it and said to the female companion beside him, I need to borrow this person for a few minutes. After a few minutes, you guys can continue to be intimate, okay? Honestly speaking, his female companion's eyes had been fixated on this person ever since he had entered. Now he was even more overboard. He actually looked like he was in full bloom. This first. Before William could finish his sentence, Bojio interrupted him. When you were young, I really couldn't tell that you had such a good taste. When you were young? Gio. William's back trembled. Bojio supported her chin lazily. It's me. Tell me, what did Momo put here? Gio, we haven't seen each other for a long time. You don't know that ever since you left, I haven't had any appetite. William basically used all the Chinese idioms he knew. Bojio raised her eyebrows. Brother, look at the time. What time? William was slightly confused. Shouldn't they be reminiscing about the past? In China, etiquette was the most important. Bojio spoke slowly. I have to decipher the clues before the sky turns dark. So William, be more honest. What did he ask you to do? William blinked. He wanted to reach out for a hug. Gio, I don't think you should be so anxious. William. Bojio accepted his hug and smiled. If you want to be beaten up by me, you can continue wasting time. If I can't marry Momo, I might accidentally destroy your house. William instantly froze. He believed Gio's words. When they were young, the devil had used this point. Why didn't Gio change after they grew up? William inhaled deeply. He had a big head and red hair. He looked aggrieved. You just asked me to take something. I haven't opened it yet. You know that I'm really traumatized by your devil MO. I don't dare to touch that thing. What if it's a bomb? Gio, really, he isn't like what you think. He's a little princess. You don't know how scary he was when he was young. He's so handsome. He's a little princess. Gio patted his back. Give it to me. William was speechless. He had completely lost hope in this world that only cared about appearances. Besides, he wasn't bad either. Looking at his reflection in the pool, he was also very handsome. The Easterners really don't know how to appreciate them. William took out a box dejectedly. That devil, could it be a ring? Gio didn't reply. She opened it and took the item out. This game, Super Mario? Didn't you like playing before? William didn't understand. He tried his best to wrap the scarf around himself. After all, no matter how handsome Nine was, she was still a girl. She was still his white moonlight. Why did the devil give you this? Gio didn't reply, her gaze landing at the side. There's a game console here? How do you know? The Royal Hotel is different from other hotels. It's the only hotel that provides an antique game console for everyone. William said excitedly. Gio took the game plug and walked over. Gio, what are you doing? That you're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.